You know, I
Division
just
is
the
suddenly
rumors.
stacked.
Nick
Who
is
do you
that?
see as your big threat
Okay.
for a title shot against the current champion, Brandon Vera?
léegi nee na li muy laajte mooy ci championship bi nga xamante ni moom mooy ñëw kan nga yaakaar ni moom nga ci gën a tiit daal ci ku la mën a gaañ ci ñi nga xamante ni ñoo ñooy ñëw.
Non, man tiituma si kenn.
I see no threat.
Non, tiituma si kenn.
I'm afraid of no one.
Got a quick follow-up question. How do you see the Brandon Vera Arjun Buller title fight going?
Can you hear me?
Say that one more time, please.
Can you hear
How
me,
do you
John?
see the
I can hear you.
Brandon Vera
I'll shut
versus
up then.
Arjun Buller heavyweight title fight going, which is I think going to be scheduled in
nee
the
na
summer?
léegi naka nga gisee ñi nga xamante ni ñoom nga war a song ci sama bi di ñëw.
ab lan.
par rapport ak ñi nga nar a song pour été bi di ñëw. naka nga
ok
gisee daal.
waaw mais dama comme sama combat bi wala yeneen di ñëw.
Are you talking about my next fight or the following one?
No, Brandon Vera versus Arjun Buller, the title fight, the upcoming title fight. How does he see that fight going down?
nee na naka nga gisee.
Brandon Vera versus the challenger Arjun Buller. Does he have a prediction for that fight?
This is fantastic.
nee na xeex bi nga xamante ni moom moo nar jàkkaarloo Caanum Vera ak ki yore titre bi. nee na yow lan mooy sa prédiction la kan nga yaakaar ni kooku moo ci daan.
non dina am combat bu neex moom lay doon mais xaw ma nag kuy daan nag yàlla suñu borom rek ak xam mais dina am dina doon combat bu neex.
I'm not sure about who would win, only God knows, but I know that will be a great fight.
Well, thank you.
Jërëjëf.
Thank you for your question, Leon. Our next question will be from Jay Anderson of Cage Side Press. Jay, please go ahead.
nee na nag question bi nga xamante ni moo ci topp ki la koy laaj ñu ngi koy woowee Jay Anderson ñu ngi koy jox kàddu gi.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, thanks very much. And you know, Omar, a lot of 2-0 fighters don't get the kind of attention that you've been getting this early in your career. I'm just curious what it's been like developing, you know, with so much spotlight and attention on you so young in your MMA journey.
nee na li mu seetlu mooy ñi nga xamante ni ñoom ñooy def combat yu mel nii ñu ci bari bu ñu commencé du ñu am attention bi nga am mu bëggoon na xam yow naka nga gisee yow yaa ngi door ci lii ak ñëpp ñi nga xamante ni ñi ngi jëmale seen xel ak seen laajte ak seen attention seen intérêt ci yow loolu yow noo ko dundee.
waaw man moom dama doon koo xam ne nag sama lu muy dugg rek damay ñaan yàlla suñu borom jël si doon si paix ndax loolu sama gëm-gëm la lu nekk si man la waaw.
That's my belief. I believe that in everything that I start, I have the goal to be at the top. So, and I pray God to help me achieve that goal.
And have you thought, progressing as quickly as you have, about how soon you could make it to the top of one's heavyweight division? Like when you dream, when you think about this, do you think maybe a title fight in 1 year or 2 years? What's your expectation?
Nena, yow na bo xolé sa progression ni mu gaawé ni dafa bëggoon xam yow kañ nga yaakaar ni ci ngay jëlé titre champion poids lourd. Est-ce que ci benn at la fi ak benn at wala fi ak ñaari at lan nga yaakaar kañ nga yaakaar ne ci ngay mën a egg noonu ci kaw.
waaw loolu moom liñ ci xam nga luñ ci mën a wax nag lu bëri dañuy bañ jiitu yàlla lépp yàlla suñu borom moom moo yor mbir yooyu mais ñun am nañ suñu gëm-gëm boo xam ne tey jii incha allah na combat yi dox rek incha allah li si kanam rawuli bët quoi man moom ay benn at ak ñaari at ak non man xale laa damay liggéey maa ngi sama yoon waaw lu ma yàlla jox rek ma jël. mais gëm nañ ni man incha allah waaw sama bët moom mooy li ma faral di wax rek sama bët moom tegu ma ko si combat yi yëpp waaw si man lu ma tax a jóg mooy belt bi moo ma tax a jóg.
lan moo tax a jóg.
belt bi.
belt bi ok. As far as I see, I'm not focused on on the fight that I'm going through at this point. But that's the step that I have to go through. And in my faith, I believe that I have to fight I have to face every fight with the same conviction and the same strength. For now, I'm young, so I don't know how long it will take. It's not in my hand, it's in God's hand. I don't know how long it will take, but I'm aiming at the belt because I want the top. But I cannot tell you how long it will take me to get there.
And last one for me, just give us your thoughts on the matchup with Mady this week. How do you see this fight going?
Léegi nag beneen laaj bi nga xamante ni moom laa lay mujj laaj est-ce que mën nga ma wax combat bi nga xamante ni moom nga nar a am ci semaine bi lan nga ci yaakaar.
waaw combat bi moom incha allah ndam rek bu soobee suñu borom ndax ki ñuy faatal dañ koy jox cër bu moom jox ko lépp mais si ring ba moom incha allah dina neex bu soobee yàlla.
What I can say about that is that all I expect is victory. I will respect my opponent, but I will fight and it will be a great fight, but I expect victory. God willing.
All right, thanks very much. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Nee na jërëjëf mi ngi lay souhaiter bonne chance.
Inshallah, jërëjëf.
Thank you.
Our next question here will be from Reug Reug of My MMA News. Reug Reug, please proceed.
Nee na nag question bi nga xamante ni moom moo ci topp Reug Reug moo la koy laaj moom mi ngi bokk ci My MMA News.
Okay.
Hey, Omar, just one for me. As Jay mentioned right there, kind of a fighter who has gained a lot of spotlight and hype very early into their career. And I'm just wondering, especially as you continue to build up the hype and win more fights, do you feel any pressure from being looked at as a guy who, has so much attention on you right now?
Léegi nee na comme question bi nga xamante ni moom la Jay laaj
Leon both work for my
yoo xamante ni dafay doore commencé rek ñëpp teg ko bët te yow yaa ngi développé li nga xamante ni moom nga commencé est-ce que sentiro benn pression boo xamante ni moo tegu ci sa kaw ci koo xamante ni dafay doore commencé rek daal est-ce que sentiro pression bu ñu teg sa kaw noonu
non pression mës sa tegu si kaw sama kaw ndax ñun lu ñuy def rek dañ koy booleeg suñu gëm-gëm comme mooy sànq li ma wax rek dañ ko booleeg suñu gëm-gëm ñun duñ dox si pression ndax ñi ñuy seetaan yàgg nañoo nekk si géew kon ñun mësuñoo dox pression si dara yàgg nañoo teewal Sénégal international tamit kon ñun mësuñoo am pression si loolu kon duñ ñëw ba fii di am pression non.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling no pressure at all. As I said earlier when I was talking to Jay, I am progressing based on my faith. And everything I do, I put that faith on top of everything. And this is not new to me. I have been progressing. I have been fighting all over, even at an international plan for my country. So I'm used to being in the middle of an arena. This is not new, and I have no pressure. I'll be okay.
Thanks, Omar. Best of luck.
Merci, Omar. Bonne chance.
Our next question will be from Dwi Wijatmiko of bolasport.com. Dwi, please go ahead.
Nena legi question bi ci top Dwi Bulajigo mo la kay laaj ci ben sisit la bokk mom.
Hello, Omar. Nice to meet you.
Nena mi ngi lay nuyu tay nena kontaan na ci daje bi.
Omar, I have two questions for you. We know
am na ñaari laaj.
African fighters has been dominating in UFC right now with Adesanya, Ngannou, and Kamaru Usman. How do you see this? And especially as your career, yourself career in one championship, as we know that now there are no African fighters who champion in one championship.
Nena. Ci championship bi nga xamanteni mom nga nek amon na ñaari beur yo xamanteni africain lañu comme Ngannou ak Camara Ousmane neena nak légui té ci championship bi gisul ben wolof asafula gisul ben africain bo xamanteni mi ngi nek ci tête bi léegi yow naka nga gisee loolu.
waaw loolu moom lu ma si wax du bëri ndax ñaan naa yàlla suñu borom dem ba téye woon championship doon seen poids lourd dem ba téye woon championship seen beltis poids lourd incha allah te loolu day am bu soobee suñu borom ndax ñu ngi siy liggéey gëm nañ suñu bopp xam nañ lu koy maye.
Okay. As far as I know, I'm praying, and I know that I have the faith. I'm praying to one day hold the belt of the one championship. I'm working hard as well to win that, and I believe in myself. So I know that the African we don't find them yet, but I will be the one, God willing.
And how many fights do you targeting to do this year? We know you just made your debut at one championship in January, and now you're fighting again. How many fights do you targeting to do this year?
Nena seetlu na ni yaa ngi def sa bëre bu njëkk yaa ngi ko def mois de janvier ñaata xeex nga yaakaar ni moom nga nar a am ci at bi.
ci at bi waaw ñu nag waa championship nag dañ xam nga dañoo signé 5 combats. waaw 5 combats waa ci 2 ans de moo jumule 2 ans ak ñaata mois 2 ans ak 3 mois xaw ma mais lépp 5 combats lay doon mais daal ñu ngi liggéey daal inshallah nag
5 combats ci 2 ans ak 3 mois.
waaw mais daal ñu ngi liggéey 5 combats la daal lépp 5 combats lay doon quoi mais ñu ngi liggéey ànd ak sunu staff ànd ak sunu entraîneur lépp lu ñu ci war yëpp ñu ngi koy def inshallah ñaan nañu yàlla 5 combats yëpp yàlla sunu borom may ñu ndam.
Okay. For now, I have signed with one championship to have 5 fights in 2 years and 3 months. For now, we're working hard with my staff. We're working hard to make sure that I have the victory at the end of each fight, God willing.
Okay, thank you, Omar. Good luck for your fight.
Thank you.
Merci wanena mi ngi lay souhaiter bonne chance ci sa xeex yi.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dewey. Our next question will be from Ivan Stewart of Dugout, Philippines. Ivan, please proceed.
Nena nag question bi ci toog mi ngi jógee ci Ivan mi ngi Mohamed mi ngi nekk ci benn kii bu tudd xam lan Philippines.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you very much, Yanni, and good morning to everyone. Okay, I'll go first with Omar because you're now 2-0 in your stand, 2-0 in your record. But if you win this fight, have you ever thought that you're now closer to a title shot against Brandon Vera or maybe Arjan Buller if you win on Thursday?
Please say it again, please. One more time. We repeat it.
All right. Despite having a 2-0 record, has it ever crossed Omar's mind that he's now closer to a possible world title shot against either Vera or Buller if he beats his opponent on Thursday?
Nena léegi ñetti xeex yi nga def yëpp danga ko gagné est-ce que mosoon na jàll sa xel rek nii di nga dem ba jàkkaarloog Vera wala am na keneen ku mu tudd.
mu ne dinaa dem ba.
Are you asking if I would fight with them?
So I was asking if has it ever crossed his mind that if he wins on Thursday, he'll be closer to the world title shot. Just put the 2-0.
The message is not very clear though.
Maimona, I think the question was at just 2-0. Did Omar ever think that after just 2 fights, and if he beats Manny Bargi, that he'll be closer to the title shot against Brandon Vera or either Arjan Bular?
exemple nee na dafa bëggoon xam après ñaari match ñaari bëre yi nga def soo gagné bii di ñëw est-ce que jàpp nga ni di nga gën a jege pour jàkkaarloo ak Vera wala am na beneen tur bu mu wax ñeneen champion yi fa nekk yoo war a xeexal.
waaw ñun moom pare nañ ci bépp ñun pare nañ ci bépp côté ñun ku ñu yàlla boole rek ñu jël adversaire bu ñu am rek ñu jël waaw ñun dawuñu kenn tiituñu kenn ay xale nañ dañuy liggéey waaw ku bëgg lu mitin ku ñeme akara moom il faut nga bëgg kaani nag loolu moom waxu sénégalais la
waxu sénégalais la de ok for now I feel that I'm ready to fight with any opponent. I'm afraid of no one. I'm shy in front of no one. I'm young and I'm fighting hard. There is a meal in Senegalese culture that needs a lot of hot pepper. So whoever wanna eat that type of meat need to be able to face the heat from the hot pepper. So I'm afraid of nothing and I'm ready.
No record.
All right. So how do you find Brandon then? Like, what are your thoughts about him in general?
Could you say the name again, please?
Brandon Vera. How do you find him? How does he find him?
Brandon Vera. Nena, yow naka nga gisee Brandon Vera?
Nu ma ko gisee comme.
What do you mean by how do I find him?
What are his thoughts of Brandon Vera like?
The connection is not that great though.
Mona, I think the question was, what does Omar think of Brandon Vera as a fighter and as a champion?
Nena, lan nga xalaat ci Brandon Vera comme xeexkat ak comme champion?
waaw man lu ma si xalaat bëriwul ndax man daal instant bi maa ngi sama yoon maa ngi entraîné man bu ma paree si fight kun ma jox man I don't care ku ñëw baax na. Yeah.
Okay. For now, I'm not thinking about him that much. I know that I'm ready to meet anyone. I'm training hard and I don't care. Whoever comes, I'm ready.
Thank you, Ivan, for your question. We're going to move along now. We have next Simon Romero of Behind the Grid. Simon Romero.
waaw nee na sant nañu waajooju ci laajam léegi ki nga xamante ni moom lañ jox kàddu gi mi ngi tudd Simon Romero mi ngi bokk fi ñuy wax Behind the Grid.
Okay.
This is a train.
There you go. Can you hear me all right?
Hear you now.
Beautiful. How are you doing today, Oumar?
Good.
I love it.
Oh, nice job.
I'm good.
Awesome. So I just have this one quick one for you here. Can you talk to us about what life was like growing up in Senegal and how you actually came to terms with becoming an MMA fighter from a country like that?
Neen dafa bëggoon xam naka la sa dundu meloon bi nga nekk xale di màgg ci Sénégal ak naka nga def ba jóge foofu ñëw di xeex nekk ci lutte MMA te jóge ba Sénégal.
Ok waaw Sénégal comme xale la muy def rek tërëdi dem jàng bàyyi jàng dem géej bàyyi géej commencé bëre ndax man ëtt bi ma dëkk ëtt bëre la waaw samay papa yëpp doon loon bëre samay maam yëpp doon loon bëre ma ñëw jaar ci seen tànk
may ma après yow
waaw
okay. Coming from Senegal, I can first say that I grew up going to school first and then leaving the school. After that, I started very young wrestling because I come from a family where people wrestling, where people were used to wrestle, like my dad and everybody in my family. Go ahead, Omar. Omar.
waaw léegi yàlla def ni commencé bëre man dama doon bëree ñaari lutte muy maanaam lutte sans frappe ak lutte avec frappe lutte sans frappe téye naa ko 5 ans yoo xam ne maa téye titre bi.
Lutte avec frappe 5 ans.
lu ñu teg Sénégal ma jël 5 ans yoo xam ne non sans frappe.
waaw sans frappe.
non sans frappe. lu ñu fa teg ci Sénégal ma jël ko. moo ne ma meilleur lutteur def maanaam jël naa meilleur lutteur lu tolloog 4 fois wala 5 fois. may dem équipe nationale di dem Niger okay.
So as far as fighting, wrestling, I was fighting without strike and also fighting with strike. For the fighting without strike, I have took the title 5 times. I have been 4 times the best fighter. And I was fighting at the national level as well as the local level too on my continent.
waaw bu ñu jógee foofu après ñuy dem équipe nationale di dem drapeau CEDEAO drapeau chef de l'État yooyu yëpp jël naa ko dem équipe nationale capitaine 2 fois dem fi Dosa dem fi francophonie yooyu yëpp ma jël samay médaille lépp mu ngi kër ga mu ngi jógee foofu commencé bëre arène am naa 15 combats arène 0 défaite.
15 combats 0 défaite, ok.
waaw bu ma jógee foofu après nag c'est là dem États-Unis commencé dem États-Unis 2016 commencé nekk foofu di entraîner bu ma demee amee combat dem États-Unis entraîner ñibbi si waat bu ma pare.
waaw léegi
ma commencé.
taxawal foofu tuuti.
ok
2016 nga dem États-Unis. all right. So
waaw 2016 laa commencé dem États-Unis.
I have also won many titles around West Africa, CEDEAO, CDEAO, the head of states fight. I also won in the francophonie, the French-speaking area as well. I won many titles in the arena. I fought 15 times, and I won all the 15 times. No defeat. And in 2016, that's when I started going to the USA for my trainings on my continent.
léegi bu ma demee commencé dem États-Unis nag c'est là commencé ci am combat yu mag di bëre ay combat lutte avec frappe commencé ma dem ba lutte avec frappe bi ma bàyyi ma lii simple bi ma bàyyi simple bi commencé nag commencé fi ko ci MMA ndax sport bu ma neex la sport de combat la ndax nit ki sport bu doonee sa métier sport boo gis mën nga see mën a dugg boo amee position bi quoi.
All right. So when I started going to the US for my training, that's when I started doing the wrestling with strike, and I loved it. And that's at that time that I started with the MMA fight, and I felt very comfortable with it. Since I like fighting, that's my main sport, I was comfortable.
ok si laa dugg nag commencé nag si laa dugg nag commencé si ñu nag Ares. si laa dugg commencé ñu nag Ares ne ma am combat si Ares ma xeex fa benn combat.
Pare nga.
Yeah, Omar back again. A little technical difficulty there.
Okay.
Welcome back, Omar.
Omar?
léegi nag
yaa
suñu
ngi
combat
nekkoon
ñu
fi
ne
nga
ko Ares
nekkee
ñu
waa
ñu
waa fi nga
Ares
yaa ngi doon wax fi nga defee
waaw
sa premier combat Ares bi.
comme premier combat maa ngi ko Ares man ak Sofiane Bokisu commencé nag ndax foofu ñun ak ñoom demoon nañ ba signé ñun ak ñoom 4 combats mais xam nga Covid beeg yaa ma gën a xam mu ñëw ak yàlla suñu borom ñëwal ay dogalam kon dañ koy nangoo yàlla suñu borom après ñu quitté ak ñoom suñu manager muy.
So that's how I started fighting with through Ares, and I had my first fight. So I fought with Sofiane Bokisu, and I had a contract, but with the COVID, we were not able to continue, and that's just a pandemic that we have to deal with at this time. Omar.
Léegi après ñu tàggoog waa Ares après mu loolu léegi suñu manager muy Kedo ak sama grand muy Leyti ñu liggéey si liggéey bu mucc abi ba korog ñuy décroché One Championship après si la ñu commencé fight One Championship waaw sama xale mu ngi noonu ak sama mag.
Okay, so after that, that's how I worked hard with Kedo and Leyti, and we ended up with the One Championship. This is my life when I was younger and when I grew up.
Omar and Maimona, thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to see you back in the One Circle. All the best.
waaw nee na mi ngi lay sant ci sa temps te nee na mi ngi yàkkamti da dajeeg yow ci One Championship nee na mi ngi lay ñaanal.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was heavyweight sensation Omar Kane. He will be taking on Mehdi Bargi this April 7th live on TNT. We have another special athlete joining us next. Yuri Lapicus will take the hot seat to answer a few of your questions. Please stay with us. Yuri Lapicus joins us next.
Lapicus. What? What were some of the questions, man? That was a weird exchange. And
that was fucking weird. Yeah.
That was some weird exchanges right there in the questions. But,
oh my goodness.
I think Reug Reug, he seems like he's tired of talking about other people. You know what I mean? It's like
he got asked the same question 3 or 4 times.
14 times, like the same question over. Don't the other guys listen to like the questions that the other?
No one ever does that.
Oh, that's weird, man.
Or sometimes you just don't pay attention to what anyone else is saying because you're just waiting for your slot, right? And then you've got to listen. I think. But I'm guilty. I've done that a few times.
Yeah, man.
Someone needs to save this media day with good questions. Don't look to me, Sepilot. I don't have any good questions.
I have no idea how to ask questions.
You can. I can do it. I think I can do it for you if I like raise my hand on the Zoom. You can just speak and they'll hear you. I think. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm still figuring out all this tech, as you can see from there.
We would just add to the confusion.
Yeah. We don't need any more confusion today.
Exactly. Is Adriano there? Do you know? Do you have an update on that?
No idea, but they're still promoting the fight, so I hope he's there.
Me too.
Oh my
man.
goodness.
That would suck.
Yeah. That would suck so much.
Because that's a huge blow, you know what I mean? Because of DJ's like one of the reasons why they're doing the show on TNT.
Do you think they would just throw like Reese McLaren against him or something? Or
it could be a possibility. You never know because you need to have DJ on the marquee, right?
Yeah.
You know, and he would probably be pissed if he didn't fight.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was talking about
Reese is there,
Reug Reug.
right? And Yuya.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
There's a
ahead.
lot of guys there. You know, going back to Reug Reug, I think Reug Reug, he's in a perfect situation to where he could actually catapult himself real fast, even though he only has a couple fights. But he has a long history in Senegalese wrestling and
Yeah.
combat. So like his experience, it's like a guy coming from Muay Thai or something like that, right? With like 100 fights or whatever. You know, you gotta add, you gotta add that to their record. You can't just look at the MMA fight. So he's a danger, man. The guy is powerful. He's big. He swings hard. Anybody in the heavyweight division that's powerful, big, and swings hard, they're a threat to the title. Look at Derek Lewis. You know what I mean? He's a perfect example of that. Derek Lewis is just like a big, strong guy who has a good chin and can throw heavy hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Sepulot, I'm not saying he's close to a title shot, but man, he's gonna get thrown in after this fight. I guarantee you that with somebody. And if you're a promoter, if you're an organization, and you want to crack that market in Africa, who better to have than him as a champ pushing that? So from a business standpoint, he would be a great person to have as a champion. I don't know how much Vera does for them anymore. You know what I mean?
Welcome back to day 2 of the
neither
one
do I.
on TNT 1 Virtual Media Day.
We'll see. Huh?
Just a heads up here, we have a slight delay. We're still trying to get Yuri Lapicus' translator in with us, so please be patient. We will have the number 2 ranked Yuri Lapicus, the lightweight contender,
This has
with
been
us
fun,
shortly.
hasn't it?
Why is Yuri ranked number 2? I have no reason.
Yeah.
Well, if Alvarez beats Lapicus, I'm guaranteeing Alvarez is going to get a title shot.
I don't think so. I think Chetri is going to make him fight Shinya if Shinya beats Sage.
Oh, no way. Oh, if
Yeah.
Shinya loses to Sage, could we see Alvarez against Sage?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would be fun. You know, that's something you would have never expected.
Mm. I mean, that never crossed my mind as a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
we gotta
not sure I
ask-
want to see that.
Maybe we should ask Lapicus, like, hey, you beat Eddie. Do you see the winner of Sage and Shinya as a potential opponent? You know what I mean? Coming up for the next title shot. Because I could see them kind of pushing Shinya to fight for the title again, too.
Yeah, I can see that. It all depends. Yeah,
It does depend, man.
I don't mind seeing the trilogy, Shinya and Eddie.
Yeah, I don't mind seeing that either. Shinya's still really good, man. So is Eddie. So it's not like they're just like washed up fighters. They're not at all.
I feel that Eddie's just maybe in a rush, whereas if he just chills out and takes a few fights, he can really build himself up in one. He has to, right? I think after that first loss, he needs to take a few wins before he gets a title shot. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, I think that's what makes a difference for him coming into this fight. I think that he goes. I was picking Lapicus to win, but then I'm thinking like Eddie's like, I think he's found something to push him, to drive him a little bit more than he did in his first couple of fights. And if you look at Lapicus, I don't know, Eddie. I think Eddie was going to be able to knock him out. Because he has good enough grappling, he has good enough wrestling. And I talked to his training partner, Lance Palmer, the other day, and they were talking about how they're being grinding, and he's about to fight soon too. And yeah, it's just incredible what they've been going through the last couple of months. So we'll see, man. I'm excited to see Eddie back in there.
So am I.
So is there a day 3?
This, I don't think so. Mercifully for all of us, it's just these 2 days. But it kind of sucks because there's so many other fighters, right? from all the next 2 cards.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of good fighters that you can talk to.
Yeah, but they're not going to put them up until next week, which sucks because they've already fought.
Yeah, that's a weird dynamic, huh?
Mix De La Cruz, what's up, Mix? He's asking if one changed the TN2 lineup again. I don't know. Have they? I haven't seen that. What are you talking about, Migs? Which fight fell out, or do you think fell out? Tell us more. I haven't seen anything. Maybe Leon Jennings can fill us in on Asian Persuasion MMA. Go check out Leon as always. God, this month, man, is madness, isn't it? Just seeing Ariel tweeted like UFC on ABC2, Fight Night 261, 4-1 on TNT cards, 3 Bellator shows, 2 PFL, Jake Paul, Ben Askren, KSW. Jesus. Yeah, Migs, I'm looking at the card. I don't see any changes to it. But wasn't there a strawweight fight with Adewale? Let's have a look.
There was. He was fighting Brooks. I think he was fighting Brooks. Jared Brooks.
Yes. All right. Leon has just said the matchup between Lito and Jared Brooks is not on that card. I don't know if it's been moved.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize
All right,
about the
here we
delay. Welcome back to day 2 of the One on TNT1 Virtual Media Day. We now have Yuri Lapicus, the number 2 ranked lightweight contender, joining us. Yuri will be taking on the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez, in a highly anticipated lightweight matchup. Yuri, how does it feel to be back in Singapore again and finally competing?
Yuri, come ti senti a essere finalmente di nuovo a Singapore e partecipare per questo incontro?
Non vedevo l'ora di tornare a combattere, quindi sono molto contento di essere di nuovo a Singapore e non vedo l'ora di combattere.
I couldn't really wait to be back and fight again and be here in Singapore. So really, I cannot wait for this fight.
Yuri, what have you been working on for this matchup specifically to give you an edge over such an experienced fighter?
Yuri, su che cosa hai lavorato specificamente per riuscire ad affrontare un fighter che è così iconico, così famoso?
Mi sono preparato a tutto, sia in piedi, sia su wrestling, sia sulla lotta a terra, mi sono preparato in tutto perché è un aspetto del tutto. Quindi poi dopo ovvio ho la mia strategia che metterò in atto all'incontro.
Actually, I've been preparing for everything. On my feet, on the ground, truly, I try to prepare for everything. Then, of course, I have my strategy, and you will see my strategy on the ring.
Yuri, we have members of the media from all over the world here. We have our first question from Jay Anderson of Cage Side Press. Jay Anderson, please go ahead.
Hey, thanks very much. Yuri, I'm wondering, Eddie is such a legend in the sport, really. I mean, ever since he became the Underground King, is he someone that you watched when you were coming up through the ranks?
Sì, Yuri, la prima domanda è di J.A. Anderson from Cage Side Press. Quello che vuole sapere, sai, Eddie è una leggenda, è noto come l'Underground King. È qualcuno che guardavi i suoi incontri mentre ti sei fatto strada in questo mondo?
Puoi ripetere, per favore?
Eddie è una leggenda, è famosissimo. La domanda è hai guardato i suoi incontri? È qualcuno che uno dei tuoi riferimenti mentre ti sei fatto strada nell'MMA?
Sì, Eddie, fai conto che lo guardo da tanto tempo, no? Anche da piccolo. Mi ricordo ancora quando combatteva lui che aveva la stessa mia età, quindi già lo conoscevo da tanto tempo come tanti altri, no? E ovviamente ho studiato i suoi incontri, ho studiato lui, quindi direi di sì.
Yes, Eddie is someone that I've been watching since I was a kid, and I still remember when he used to fight when he was my age. So yes, I've been knowing him since like long time, and of course, I also been studying his matches, and I study his style and strategy.
And when you're watching that tape of Eddie over the years and you compare him to the Eddie Alvarez of today, in your estimation, is he the same fighter, the same caliber of fighter who won the Bellator title and who won the UFC title?
Yuri, guardando i suoi incontri nel passato e guardando i suoi incontri di adesso, pensi che sia sempre un lottatore dello stesso calibro ora rispetto a quando in passato ha vinto tutti i titoli che sappiamo?
Penso proprio di sì, perché comunque l'esperienza che ha avuto alle spalle non la perde, no? Quindi sempre Eddie Alvarez di un tempo.
Yeah, I think he's of the same caliber because all his experience is something that is not losing. So he's still the same Eddie Alvarez.
And last one for me, I mean, because it's Eddie Alvarez, because he's been fighting for 2 decades and he's had all those titles, there's a lot of attention on Eddie. Do you feel overlooked at all? And do you think maybe you can surprise some people this week?
Yuri, abbiamo un'altra domanda. Sai, lui è Eddie Alvarez, è molto famoso, ha 20 anni di esperienza e per cui sta ricevendo un sacco di attenzione da parte dei media. Pensi in qualche modo che i media ti stiano un po' sottovalutando e che magari tu possa sorprenderli?
Ma certamente mi stanno sottovalutando perché non ho l'esperienza di Eddie, no? Quindi sicuramente non sono né a suo livello né come dire, non ho la sua esperienza, non so la sua esperienza, quindi cercherò di far vedere quello che valgo.
Yes, of course, I've been overlooked because I don't have the same experience. I probably not his level, mainly due to the fact that I have not his experience. But what I will try to do is to prove my value on the ring.
All right, well, best of luck. Thanks very much.
After Yuri.
Thank you, Jay. And next question here is from Drake Riggs of My MMA News. Drake.
Yuri, before your Christian Lee fight, you were on a very impressive winning streak, 13-0, undefeated. You know, when fighters go on runs like that, they build up kind of the expectation that they, you know, are supposed to win, and you can extend this winning streak for far longer. And now having lost that, does it take a bit of a weight off of your shoulders now that you don't have to worry about maybe meeting that expectation of being perfect all the time?
Yuri, abbiamo un'altra domanda e questa domanda riguarda il tuo incontro con Christian Lee. Come sai, prima di quell'incontro avevi un record imbattuto, appunto venivi da un 13 vittorie contro 0 sconfitte, e quando sei in quella situazione l'aspettativa è sempre che tu debba vincere, continuare a essere imbattuto. Ecco, adesso che hai fatto quell'incontro e non hai più questo record, magari ti senti un po' più sollevato, senti di non dover per forza mantenere questo record di imbattuto?
Ma il record cerco sempre di mantenerlo. L'unica cosa è che adesso magari nell'incontro precedente avevo tensione sia per record, sia per titolo, sia per tante cose. Adesso non ho nulla da perdere.
Yeah, of course, I tried to keep that winning streak, but yeah, I have to say that in my previous match, of course, I was feeling this tension, this expectation, both for the record and both for the title. But now I think that I have nothing to lose. So yes, I feel good.
And just as for that fight with Christian Lee, I'm curious, what would you say your biggest takeaways were from that fight?
Yuri, sempre pensando all'incontro che hai fatto con Christian Lee, quali sono stati il tuo più grande insegnamento dopo quell'incontro?
Ho imparato tante cose, no? Quindi da quell'incontro. La cosa più importante è non sottovalutare mai l'avversario. Infatti ho sottovalutato troppo il mio avversario e è andata come è andata.
Yeah, I really learned a lot of things from that match. But the most important thing is to never underestimate your opponent. For that match, I underestimated Christian, and we all know how it went.
Thanks, Yuri. Best of luck.
Grazie, Yuri. Bocca al lupo.
Grazie.
We have our next question from Simon Romero of Behind the Grid. Simon Romero, please go ahead.
Hey, you're staying on the topic of Christian Lee. If you were to rematch him again soon, why would the outcome change the second time around?
Abbiamo una domanda da Simon Romero di Behind the Grid, sempre su Christian Lee. Yuri, se potessi combatterlo di nuovo adesso, come cambierebbero le cose? Come sarebbero diverse?
Cambieranno tante cose. Prima di tutto cambierà il mio modo di allenamento, cambieranno moltissime cose. Se Juan mi darà la possibilità, accetterò subito.
If I were to face Christian Lee again, for sure, I will change a lot of things. First of all, I will change my training, and many things will be different. So if one championship will give me the opportunity to fight him again, I will take it immediately.
And my second question for you is, what did you change specifically in order to get back to your winning ways come fight night?
Yuri, cosa hai cambiato nello specifico per questo incontro?
L'unica cosa che ho cambiato, mi sono allenato di più, perché affrontare di Alvarez ho dovuto allenarmi molto di più su tante cose, sia su wrestling, sulla lotta a terra, sia in piedi. Quindi mi sono allenato molto di più sulle robe specifiche.
Yeah, for this match, I had to train more to face Alvarez. I definitely had to focus on many specific aspects of the fight, both like on the feet and on the ground. So I really focus more on my training.
Thank you so much, Simon, for your questions. We're going to move along now. Our next question will be from Zach Harkness of MMA Island. Zach Harkness, please proceed.
Hi, Yuri. How's it going today?
Abbiamo una domanda da Zach di MMA Island. Ciao Yuri, come ti senti oggi? Come va?
Sto bene.
I feel good.
That's good. So Eddie yesterday was talking about where he thinks that he's better than you. And I'm sure throughout this camp, you've watched a lot of his tape and you have a good understanding of his game. So I'll ask you the same thing. Where do you think you are best in the fight against Eddie Alvarez? Where do you exceed most against him?
Yuri, ieri Eddie ha parlato di te, di dove si sente di essere meglio di te sul ring, e sappiamo che hai guardato molti dei suoi incontri e lo conosci molto bene. E vorremmo sapere dove, su che aspetti ti senti di essere meglio di lui, quali pensi siano i tuoi punti di forza?
Non saprei dire di essere più forte di Eddie, che ha il doppio della mia esperienza, quindi non so darti una risposta certa a questa domanda.
Actually, I wouldn't know. Eddie has double my experience, so this is truly a question I don't know how to answer.
Fair enough, fair enough. And even though you have more wins in one championship than Eddie, you are the underdog in this fight. Do you pay attention to these things, like you being the underdog? And were you surprised that you are?
Yuri, anche se tu hai molte più vittorie di Eddie in One Championship, insomma, sei stato definito come lo sfavorito, l'underdog. È qualcosa che a cui presti attenzione, ci pensi a queste cose e anche sei stato sorpreso di essere stato definito lo sfavorito?
No, non do tanta attenzione se sono sfavorito o favorito. Vado su ring, faccio il mio e basta.
No, actually, I don't pay too much attention of being like the underdog or not. I just focus on going on the ring and do what I have to do.
Thank you so much. Best
for
of
your
luck on Wednesday.
questions. Thank you so much for your questions, Zach. Due to times, the next couple questions, we'll keep them to one questions, please. Next up is Jake Susnarowski of Rusty Cage Podcast, New York City. Please go ahead.
Hi, Yuri. I'm curious, your opponent, Eddie Alvarez, was one half of one of the biggest fights in United States mixed martial arts history against Conor McGregor. And this being the first time one championship has been on a major broadcast network, TNT. How important is it to you to make a statement against Eddie, who's your first American opponent, and show the United States what it is that you're made of as a fighter?
Sì, Yuri, il tuo avversario Eddie ha fatto uno dei più grandi incontri della sua vita contro Conor McGregor e inoltre questo è la prima volta che One Championship è in prime time su una televisione così importante. E quanto è importante per te provare e inoltre, scusami, Eddie Alvarez è il tuo primo opponent americano. Quindi vorremmo sapere per quanto è importante per te provare il tuo valore e mostrare al pubblico statunitense di che cosa sei fatto.
Affrontare un nome come Eddie, visto la sua esperienza, visto i suoi avversari, visto la sua carriera, per me è molto importante. Nel caso che dovessi vincere, secondo me il pubblico americano apprezzerà tanto.
Yeah, facing an opponent named like Eddie Alvarez, considering his experience and his career, for me, it's very important. And yeah, in case I should win, I'm sure the American audience will appreciate it, will be happy about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jakes. Our next question will be from MMA Taba. MMA Taba, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Just want to ask. Hello, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What are Eddie's strengths in your opinion, and how do you plan to overcome them for the match?
Yuri, quali pensi che siano i punti di forza di Eddie Alvarez e come pensi di affrontarli nel tuo incontro?
Punti di forza, Eddie è una persona completa, no? Quindi i suoi punti di forza sono tutti. Cercherò di, non saprei dare una risposta anche a questa domanda perché affrontare una persona che è completo in tutto è molto difficile, quindi farò il mio e vedremo all'incontro.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about Eddie Alvarez and his strengths, I mean, he's a very well-rounded fighter. I would say everything is a strength for him. I don't really know how to answer. I don't know what I'm going to do because facing such a well-rounded opponent is very difficult. So I will step in on the ring. I know what I have to do, and we will see how it goes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from Leon Jennings of Asian Persuasion MMA. Leon, please go ahead.
Hi, yeah. How do you see the Christian Lee Timothy Nesteugen title fight going? And is there a bit of you that wants Christian Lee to win so you can potentially win the title against him in a rematch?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how does he see the Christian Lee Timothy Nesteugen fight going? And does a bit of him want Christian Lee to win so he can potentially win the title against Christian in a rematch and avenge his first loss?
Ok. Yuri, come vedi l'incontro che ci sarà Christian Lee contro Timothy? Vorresti che lui vincesse in modo tale da poter avere un
Nobody
rematch con
understands what
lui?
Leon says.
Ma il rematch lo farei anche senza il titolo, anche il match normale, quindi il match lì contro Timothy anche lì sarà un match spettacolare, vedremo come andrà a finire.
Yeah, of course, Christian Lee versus Timothy is going to be a spectacular match. We will see how it's going to end. But honestly speaking, I will want to have a rematch with Christian Lee, even if it's not for the title, even like a regular match, I will want to have it.
Cool, thank you. Good luck.
Bocca al lupo.
Thank you so much for your time, Yuri. Valentina, thank you so much for your help. All the best in the one circle, Yuri.
Grazie mille, Yuri, per il tuo tempo e bocca al lupo.
Grazie a voi.
Thank you, everyone.
That was the number 2 ranked lightweight contender, Yuri Lapicus. He will be taking on the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez, in a highly anticipated matchup. We have next joining us the GOAT himself, the one flyweight World Grand Prix champion, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson. Demetrious Johnson will be facing the 6th time and reigning one flyweight world champion, Adriano Moraes, as the main event of this one on TNT 1 Supercard. Super excited to have DJ in with us. Please have your questions ready. DJ will be joining us really, really soon.
That sounds weird. One on TNT 1.
I know. It's really annoying.
I was interviewing somebody and I was starting the interview like that, and I was like, and I caught myself. I was like, oh, that's weird. One on TNT 1.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? That's why they don't do numbered events as well. But then they did it for Century.
Welcome back. We are still here live for day 2 of the one on TNT 1 Virtual Media Day. We have now the GOAT himself, the one flyweight World Grand Prix champion, Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, joining us. DJ, so good to see you again. How are you feeling finally being back here in Singapore and competing again?
It feels good. And also, it feels good just to be competing again, to get the opportunity to compete again.
DJ, we got media from all over the world here ready to ask you some questions.
He's going to pass the hydration test.
First one here is going to be from Drake Riggs of My MMA News. Drake
Rig.
Riggs, please go ahead.
Good to see you, Demetrious. How you doing?
No, good. How about you?
Can't complain, man. So, you've had an incredible career, fought really just about everybody you possibly can. So at this point, in this stage, getting ready to try and become one championship champion, I mean, does anything really feel like a challenge anymore for you?
I believe everything's a challenge. I mean, being 34 years old, be doing this for a very long time, getting the daily grind in and out of the gym, and taking on an athlete like Adrian Moraes is not easy, right? It's a challenge. He's very long, very big for the weight class. He has a reach advantage. So the challenge would be, how can I cross distance without running into any trouble, getting there, getting my hands on him and imposing my will. So, right there, I just named, a challenge, and that's just one part of my career. And being a father, raising 3 children, getting them to school. And yeah, I mean, everything's a challenge.
Do you think that people make too much out of the size difference? Because, you only have 3 losses in your career. Mostly everybody you fight is bigger than you.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah. I mean, when I was in North America, you're fighting guys who are 5'3", 5'4". My last couple of opponents have been a little bit more on the taller side. I believe Yuya's probably 5'5", and Tatsumi Chiwada is probably 5'6". Adrian Moraes is maybe 5'7", 5'6". I don't really know. So it's funny. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, dude, when you fight in America, you're fighting guys who are actually your height. Now, when you're in Asia, you're fighting guys who are taller than you. But that just shows you I'm up at a different weight class. I'm fighting at 135 to where in America I was fighting at 125.
Yeah, definitely. And just speaking of, those bigger guys and the 135ers you fought in the past, of course, you fought the best one, arguably ever, Dominic Cruz. And, you guys go way back. Just curious, if you saw his recent fight and thoughts on him still being able to hang with guys in his division.
Yeah, I saw his last fight. He looked great. Dominic Cruz has that same style. He likes to use a lot of head movement, a lot of footwork, just a lot of that movement. Yeah, he looked great. I'm happy that Dominic Cruz is still able to compete, make money, and be healthy. At the end of the day, we're all athletes, and we have a short window of opportunity to make as much money as possible. And he's had a very successful career as an analyst, and I'm happy for him.
Absolutely. And, just curious, what did you think of the Monster thoughts? If you have any comments or thoughts on his call out.
Yeah, I think that's a personal thing between him and Hans, and obviously that's his opinion. And, I know Monster, they're a great company. They pay very well to their athletes. They take care of their athletes. And it's not just mixed martial arts athletes they take care of. They take care of all types of athletes, motocross, photographers, videographers. So, I'm sure that Hans and Dominic Cruz will square out that beef. And, I understand where he's coming from, right? As athletes, like I said, we do this to make a living. And when a sponsor comes in a way of you getting a paycheck, you're going to have, ill will towards that person. So, he's letting everybody know, like, dude, like, that's not okay what you're doing.
All right. Thanks, Demetrius. Best of luck.
Hello.
Next question will be from Jude Rios, Overtime Heroics MMA. Jude, please go ahead.
Yeah, hey Demetrius, it's an honor to talk to you. My question is, the whole world knows you're a fantastic martial artist, probably the most complete and well-rounded of all time. But I believe one's strongest critic is himself, and we certainly couldn't find any areas where you need to improve. But what aspect in mixed martial arts do you personally think that you still need to work on?
I think everything. I believe there's always something you can work on when it comes to mixed martial arts. Like competing and training in the gym are 2 different things. So for me, I still haven't got to the point where I like to let my hands go a little bit more. But you're playing with such fine windows of opportunity while on the feet. Ground, it's a little bit different. You can feel it, and you can feel your opponent's energy and the weight, how they transfer. On the feet, you're playing with just windows of openings, and I haven't been able to utilize those openings that I see.
All right, thank you. Another question. Being hailed as one of the greatest of all time, and I personally think that you are. Does the fear of losing ever get to you? Like, does it ever bother you once you finally step into the octagon?
Nope. He said, "Step into the octagon." I'm stepping in that thing ever again, dog. No. So for me, it's not about losing. It's about performances, right? Like my last loss against, Hiro Cejudo was probably one of my best performances, and my stock even run up even higher because each time I go out there and fight, I go out there to compete. I'm not worried about losing. Like losing is part of the game. I've lost before, and nothing's ever changed. I've gone out there and won fights, and nothing's ever changed. So for me, when people give me that hail of the greatest of all time or the Power GOAT, that's their opinion. For me, I know I'm a hard worker. I know I'm one of the best to ever do it, especially in the flyweight division. And I'm just going to keep on training hard. So I'm not worried about losing.
All right, thank you. Meant to say ring, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, got you slipping, dog.
Next question here from Conan Altatis of Conan Daily. Conan, please go ahead.
Hi, DJ.
Yo.
Hello. You are considered one of the best MMA fighters of today. Are you willing to use your platform to share your thoughts about current social issues, especially in the US, or would you rather stay out of it and, focus on MMA?
I focus on MMA, and when I use my social media platform is for my use only. I believe everybody's political beliefs and what they believe in is for their own place to share. But I don't. I'm pretty transparent about my beliefs, but I don't think it's a place for me to share. If somebody asks me what I think, then I'll give it to them. But I can say one wrong move, I can say one wrong thing, and next thing you know, I can't believe he thinks that, blah 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 blah. It's like, for example, I have a German Shepherd, and the trainer came over there, and she goes, "Now, when your dog pees in the house, make sure you don't, stuff his nose in it and whack him." I was like, "Nah, dog, I'm old school. Like, she pissed on the ground. I'm grabbing her by the scruff. I'm shoving her face in the urine, and I'm saying, don't do that. And I'm smacking her, and I'm telling her to get on the couch. If you have a problem with that, then you can leave the house. But I'm old school, so." People are going to have political beliefs. They're going to call Peter on me. And I'm like, well, if it's my dog, I don't tell you how to raise your dog. So that's why I kind of just, when it comes to political beliefs, I keep it to myself.
All right. I have two more questions, DJ. Second is, do you think fighting in your home country will work for your advantage?
Well, I'm not in my home country. So, but when I have fought in my home country.
Fighting in the U.S.
No, you mean, am I fighting in the U.S. time zone? I'm not fighting in the U.S. Yes, I'm fighting in the U.S. time zone. So do I think it's going to be to my advantage? I think it's going to help me better instead of trying to acclimate to Singapore time zone.
Yeah. All right. Last question is, Adriano is considered the underdog, but what do you think is his greatest strength that you have to watch out for?
I think his greatest strength is his grappling. Like I said, he's very long I think he's very long for the division, very tall, and he has those long legs, phenomenal grappler. He likes to get on people's back, lock out the body triangle. With me shorter, I've showed in the past, with Tatsumi Wada, when he got my back, locked on the body triangle, took me like 3 minutes to get that thing off me. Didn't really take any damage from, Tatsumi Wada being on my back, but, that's 3 minutes of me that I could have been working, trying to finish a fight, passing guard, throwing elbows, anything. So that's the biggest strength I believe Adriano has.
Okay, thanks, DJ. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Conan, for your question. Our next question here will be from Zach Harkness of MMA Island. Zach, you're up.
Hi, DJ. How's it going?
It's all good.
So Moraes seems to have taken a trash-talking approach in the lead-up to this matchup, which is kind of surprising considering your standing in the sport. Were you surprised that he took this attitude before the fight? And how does the trash talk quality compare to others that you've faced?
I am not, to be honest with you, I'm not sure like the way he's thinking, because I haven't really followed his career. So I don't know how he approaches his fight. So this is, I guess, new to me. But, I've had trash talk before in my fight, fighting John Dodson. I think John Dodson's the only one who really talk rap. But yeah, it's just the way he likes to take if he wants it.
And the second question, as you've beaten a lot of the contenders in the division, if you claim the belt, how would you feel about going for a second belt, moving up and facing an opponent that eluded you if he also wins the belt in John Lineker?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't shy away from that, whether I win the belt or come up short. Me and John Lineker used to fight for the same organization, for the same division at 125. But if I don't foresee him getting past my teammate Bibiano Fernandez, and I have no interest ever fighting Bibiano Fernandez.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question here from Nick of South China Morning Post. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Awesome. Hey DJ, you just mentioned Bibiano there. We're doing a little live stream for this, and there was a question in the chat just asking, is there any news on the one championship GOAT himself, Bibiano Fernandez, when he may be coming back?
I'm not sure. Bibiano Fernandez, he's doing very well. I speak to him almost at least three times a month, but he's at home. He just had his, I think 41th birthday. So he's doing good. He's just waiting for that next fight. I'm pretty sure the next fight with John Lineker, and I don't know who John Lineker's fighting next. I'm sure if John Lineker wins that, it might be him. But Bibiano, the man from the jungle, is always ready. He's just waiting for that phone call.
That's good to hear. Now, this fight has been cancelled, postponed a few times. Adriano was meant to do his media duties yesterday, but he had flight issues, so he wasn't there. We almost had a heart attack. I presume all is okay with the fight, but what's it been like having this fight just constantly rearranged? Has it been difficult for you?
You kind of broke up. You said something about a heart attack. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just, we found out he had flight issues yesterday. He missed his media duties, so I was worried the fight wouldn't happen. But I presume it's all okay. But what's it like just having to constantly deal with the fight being rescheduled the last 18 months or so?
It can be frustrating, but it's out of my control. So when the fight, we're supposed to fight, I believe it was last year, we're supposed to fight in China, and then we're supposed to fight in Jakarta, and then we got scheduled for February. Now it's in April. So there's a little frustration, but you just got to stay focused and stay healthy and keep on training. And that's all we did, to be honest with you. We just, we're getting ready in February. He was during Christmas, and I remember my coach came in and goes, hey, I think they want to push the fight back in April. They want to promote the fight during March Madness. I'm like, oh my God, can we just fight already? But we're here now. I'm excited. I'm happy that he made his flight. I hope he had a great flight. I hope he's feeling good, and we can get this fight done with.
And just one more quickly from me. Your one championship career has been paired with Eddie Alvarez. You guys have always fought on the same cards. It's happening again. Well, how do you think his fight's going to go? Do you have a prediction for that? He's obviously backing you. I know you guys are pretty close. You did Brendan Schaub's show recently.
Yeah, I got Eddie's back to the wheels fall off. Big fan of Eddie Alvarez. Come a long way. I remember when he won the UFC lightweight championship. Now he's in one championship. He had a very tough loss against Timothy Nasty-Nukin, and now he came back, bounced back with a win over Eddie Falang with that nice sweep. Got the choke, and now he's got his hands full with Yuri Lapicus, and it's a little bit different. I tell people it's a little bit different for us to come over here, be quarantined like every other athlete is, and trying to stay active, trying to stay focused, trying to stay motivated. But I think he's going to go out there and do his thing. And for him, it's a little bit different as well because he's fighting guys that are a little bit bigger. Granted, Eddie does get to 190, but he's used to fighting guys at 155, not as tall. But it's going to be a good fight. I'm very excited for this fight with Yuri Lapicus.
All right. Thank you, DJ. Good luck for the fight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. This next question will be from Jakes Snooperowski of Rusty Cage Podcast NYC. Jakes, please go ahead.
Yo.
Oh, sorry about that. Demetrius, you haven't been the challenger in a title fight since September 22nd, 2012, almost 9 years. How does your preparation change, especially mentally, in being the challenger rather than the defending champion?
It never changes. The only thing that changes is that now I'm training for a 5-round fight instead of a 3-round fight. So that's nothing really changes. I've never had that mindset, even though when I won my first belt in 2012, and now I'm about to go for a different belt. It's my mindset never changes. It's just another fight.
Cool. I'm also curious, how important is it to you and your legacy to show the world, and especially Dana White, that you're still at the top of the heap by winning this one championship belt?
I mean, it's not important at all to, I mean, I know, and I think the world knows where my skill set is. I've shown them my last fights, and I'm just going to go out there and do my thing. Obviously, you know, I'm not worried about showing anything to Dana White.
Thank you.
This next question here will be from Jay Anderson of Cage Side Press. Jay Anderson, please go ahead.
Hey, DJ, welcome back. Thanks very much for the time tonight. A couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to ask you about Adriano Moraes, because, I mean, he's not a household name to Western fans. He might be kind of overlooked by the MMA community here, but in your estimation, in terms of the challenges that you faced, I know the next fight's always the biggest, the next guy's always the toughest, but where do you kind of rank him among the opponents you've taken on?
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, he's my next biggest fight. He's my next challenge. So, and I think the reason why, you know, potentially he's not a household name is that he hasn't done any work in the U.S. soil, right? Like, I believe the only reason my name is big in the U.S. soil and in Asia as well is for what I've done on American soil and how I've gone about my career. You know, I don't skate by in my fights. I'm always looking for the finish. And I think that's what kind of like elevated my name, essentially.
And the other one I wanted to ask is, I mean, you've had a couple of almost gleeful reactions tonight when you've been asked about your former employer. And I'm just wondering, when you talk about like never having to step in the octagon again, do you feel free or rejuvenated having made this move? Do you feel like you're kind of free of the past in a way?
I mean, my past is, you know, I don't run up from my past, and it's not like I don't like talking about it. I just love how it's catching people, right? I was like, well, how do you feel when you step in an octagon tonight? And I'm like, well, I'm not stepping in an octagon. It's because I'm still sharp. I'm basically analyzing all your guys' question. Well, the question that people are asking me. So, and the gentleman asked me, like, you know, do you think you need to go out there and prove to Dana White that you're still one of the best in the world? I know I'm still one of the best in the world. I know that for a fact. Whether I go out there and win or lose, I know I'm one of the best in the world. So I just chuckle about it.
Fair enough. And I'll just follow up with this last one. Do you feel that you're in a better place now than when you were a couple of years ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, when I was in the UFC, I felt like I accomplished everything that I could. I felt like the only thing I could have accomplished more is going up there, try to do the double champ, or trying to get more pay-per-view buys. That's the only thing that I can look back on my UFC career, like that's the only two things that I never were able to accomplish. Like, how can I generate, you know, 500, 600, 700,000 pay-per-view buys and go up to 135? But, you know, at the end of the day, when it was those talks, you know, I had stipulations that I wanted that they didn't want to meet. So here I am now. I'm in a brand new organization going for a world title. And if I could be champion of both sides of the world, that'd be phenomenal.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much again for the time. Best of luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question will be from Simon Romero of Behind the Grid.
Mr. Demetrious Johnson, can you hear me? I'm right, brother.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today?
Another day.
Of course, of course. So I just have this one for you here. So you got to be honest with me. You stood across the cage against Henry Cejudo in your career twice. Does it still bug you to this day that you haven't been able to settle the score for those two fights yet?
No.
That's the only one I got for you, so I appreciate the kind words.
3 times, sir.
Oh my God.
Moving along now, we have our next question from Dylan Bowker of My MMA News. Dylan Bowker, please go ahead.
Hey there, Demetrius. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Hey, the first question I have is in regards to a recent post I was seeing on the One Championship social media. You likened your Grand Prix title to the crown jewel of your career. I'm kind of curious, if you get the ideal outcome here and win the Millennial One Championship, do you think that will supersede that in any kind of way? Or is it your appreciation of Grand Prix that will always kind of position that as the capstone achievement?
It's the appreciation of Grand Prix. achievement. Like I said, in that interview when I did it, like I'm being straight up. I watched more Grand Prix growing up than as a kid, and when I was in college. Like I never forget like coming home and just popping in DVD players and watching Core Cop and Vanderlei Silva and Josh Burnett and just seeing those guys go through and be like, oh, dude, go break down, go grab and high kick. Just seeing it over. And then even when I was when I was working and I wasn't a professional athlete yet, I remember watching Bibiano Fernandez in the Dream Grand Prix when he was fighting Joe Warren and seeing him get that fat, nice belt from Dream. So I've always been a big fan of World Grand Prix just because there isn't any, what's the word I'm looking for? There isn't no like, what's the word for? It's not about how big you are, right? You get 16 top dudes in a weight class and they just go in there and they just fight. So there's no market. I mean, there is marketing, but you know, if you want to get to this championship, you have to go through these guys to get to that belt. And that's one thing I've always appreciated about the Grand Prix. To where nowadays, you know, someone who has a big name can just walk in there on losses, and you know, in mixed martial arts, that you can get a world title shot on losses. And in a World Grand Prix, once you lose, you're out. Like you're done. It's over with. So even if I'm able to capture, you know, the one flyweight belt on Thursday, Singapore time, Wednesday, American time, my World Grand Prix is always my crown jewel.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with the love for Grand Prix there, man. But also I wanted to follow up with your thoughts on something here, because when I interviewed Adriano Moraes, I didn't think it was hyperbolic to say that this fight is one of the more consequential flyweight bouts in MMA history, just considering the respective resumes of yourself and Moraes. Like, I'm kind of wondering what your feeling is on that characterization there.
No, it's definitely a big fight. It's definitely a big fight in my career. I'm approaching it as it's another big fight, and then that's it. You know, and back to the Grand Prix talk. Like, if there was a 140, if there was a featherweight World Grand Prix and my body was healthy enough, and Chatri gave me the blessing to step into it, and depending on who was in it, like let's say there was a World Grand Prix at featherweight, and they're like, oh, there's some big motherfuckers there though. And they're like, yeah, you can do it if you want, then maybe I would do it. But if I were to win it and I had to fight Bibiano Fernandez, I'm like, I don't want to fight Bibiano. I just wanted the belt. But I just like it. It's just, like I said, it's something I grew up. It's something I grew up, you know, watching, seeing Sakuraba do the openweight Grand Prix. Sakuraba doing it, and it's almost like, I don't know. I feel like when you do the Grand Prix, it's like I feel like I spent my whole entire career, you know, fighting, and obviously that's what you do in your career, is fight. But I feel like in the Grand Prix was just fun for me, like just going in there and just fight, and like, okay, your next opponent's going to be this guy, and that's it. You know, when you're just sitting and you're training in the gym, you're just waiting for the phone call, like, hey, your next opponent's this guy. So I think kind of seeing who's in the bracket is fun. But yeah.
Thanks for the time, Demetrious. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to limit our questions to one question only, please. Our next question will be from Evan Montgomery of Fight Freaks. Evan, please go ahead.
Hey, DJ. So with a win on Saturday, where would you rank yourself among the greatest MMA fighters of all time?
That's up for the public, but you know, like I tell everybody, when my time is done, I'll tell my kids, like, I'm one of the greatest to ever do it in in the smaller division.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot, man. Good luck on Saturday or
GG.
Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah.
Next question from Singapore Strike Sports.
What is going on there?
Hi, DJ. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just want to ask one question. Not only that this event will be premiering at the TNT, but due to the time zone difference, you will be fighting in the morning. Will it affect you in any way, or it doesn't make any difference for you whether you're fighting in the morning or at night?
No, I prefer to fight in the morning, to be honest with you. I come out here just to compete, and I'm sticking to the American time zone. So like yesterday, I had to do CT scan at 2:00, and my body was crashing because that's like 11:30, 12 a.m. our time in America. So right now, I would be competing inside the cage. And I've been training every day since 8 a.m., which is about 5 o'clock our time. So I'm sticking to the U.S. time zone, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a next question here from Ivan Stewart Saldajano of Dugout, Philippines. Ivan, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, Gianni. Okay, I have one question to DJ. Okay, I asked Michael Schabeller yesterday about Adriano Moraes' possible implications on his win. So, in your regards, do you think Adriano Moraes has what it takes to become at least one of the greatest flyweights of all time in either promotion?
In either promotion, see, when it comes to that, for me, it's hard, right? Like when people, so this is how I answer this. When I ask people, like, why do you call me the greatest of all time? Right? I ask people that. They say, well, it's because your dominance over 6 years and how you defeated so many different athletes in other different forms. That's what they tell me, right? So if I were to look at Adrian Moraes' career, he won the belt, then he lost to Kai Akhmatov, then he won it back, and then he beat Jay Eustaquio, and then he fought somebody, then he lost the belt to Jay Eustaquio, then he just won it back. So he's had some losses within his championship reign. So a lot of people, the community, like I said, this is all community standpoint. My standpoint would be like, well, I don't know, I haven't seen him fight American athletes. Like it's hard for me to do it. So that's why I would say I go by the community standpoint. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I don't know. What do you say? I don't know.
All right. So be it. Thank you very much.
Oh
I would say Adriano is in the top 10 for me. I'll stop by naming.
What? Oh my goodness.
We're going to move along now. Our next question will be from Chris De Santiago of MMA Island. Chris, please go ahead.
Hi, DJ. How was your Easter?
It was good. I was stuck in a hotel room the whole time.
Oh, gotcha, man. Were you able to Zoom call your family?
Yeah, I talked to them. They had a good time. They were doing an Easter egg hunt. But it was good.
Awesome, man. So, with the 135-pound weight division, it's a Shark Tank of talent. You have Kyoji Horiguchi, Juan Archuleta. You have Petr Yan, who's basically the UFC champion under one championship rules. You obviously have Adriano Moraes, who you're facing against next. Out of all those title holders at 135, who would be your toughest test?
Man. Probably Petr Yan. His hands are fucking good. He's very I mean, that's nothing taking anything away from Adrian Moraes. He's still dangerous, but Petr Yan has a very unique style of fighting. He comes forward, he throws great combinations, he's very fast. He seems like he has a good takedown defense, and he has power. So that's always dangerous. But yeah.
Thanks, CJ. It was an honor.
Our next question will be from Sazali of Straits Time. Sazali, please go ahead.
Hi, DJ. Good morning.
Good morning.
Time zone issues aside, how stoked are you to finally be back? Doing what you're best at in prime time in the States.
I'm very excited to be back. I'm very excited to be back. Just banging out all this media. Can't wait to get back to my room and eat some food. But I'm super excited to be back to be able to fight live on TNT, and keep it on American time zone.
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez said it's a bit of a coming out party for one championship. Do you think fans are going to find out something new about this organization?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think fans who haven't had a chance to see one championship, they're going to be in for a real treat. You got me taking on Adrian Moraes, you got Eddie Alvarez taking on the Yuri Lapicus, and you also got Rodtang competing as well.
All right, thank you, DJ.
To you.
Next question is from Leon Jennings of Asian Persuasion MMA. Leon, go ahead, my friend.
Hey DJ, although there have been times when you weren't able to train in the last year and a bit, do you feel in some ways better prepared for Adriano Moraes, knowing how long you've known he's going to be your opponent?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you can say that. I mean, you know, with COVID, we trained as much as we could, and then when we weren't able to train, we just chilled and relaxed and didn't worry about fighting and competing.
A very, very quick follow-up question. You've taken everything in your stride. Is there anything that gets under your skin?
No. At the end of the day, I know why I do this, and that's to provide for my family and my kids. So, yeah, that's. I don't see why anything will get underneath my skin as long as my wife and kids are good. I'm able to pay my bills, and I got 4 walls and a roof and no holes in my roof. I'm content. I'm happy.
Cheers. Good luck.
Thank you.
DJ, I want to move to some rapid fire question.
No, don't do it.
First thing that comes to your mind, just go ahead and shoot. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Superhuman strength. Like Captain America or Bucky Barnes.
Stuck on an island, you can only pick one fruit. Why? What fruit are you picking?
None, because I have fructose malabsorption, so I would have the shits the whole time.
Favorite country you've been to?
Japan.
Who has the best fight style in one championship besides yourself?
Ooh. What does it have to be a certain division or a certain aspect?
Up to you.
I would say Giorgio Petrosian. He's pretty much damn perfect.
What's one of your all-time favorite movies?
Aliens or Predator?
Favorite food?
Burger.
One ice cream flavor for the rest of your life. What you going with?
If I could play one game for the rest of my life, what game would it be?
Ice cream flavor. Give me the game as well.
It'll be vanilla and game and probably World of Warcraft. I can do so much on that game.
Who's the nicest one athlete you have ever met?
Man, they're all nice, to be honest with you. They're all nice and they're all killers. Like Rod Tang, he's so nice, but it's like, you probably kick my ass.
One more before we let you go. You're going into a medieval battle. What weapon are you picking?
Why?
Picking medieval battle. I'm picking a sword and a shield, dog.
DJ, thank you so much for your time, man. All the best. Can't wait to watch you back in the one circle.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, man. Looking sharp too, brother. Stay healthy.
Thank you, brother.
What the fuck?
That was Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson, the GOAT himself, the one flyweight World Grand Prix champion. He'll be taking on the one flyweight world champion, Adriano Moraes, as the main event of this one on TNT show. It's going to be an incredible card. We have one more athlete before we let you go today. Russian standout Raimond Magomedaliev joins us shortly.
Well, that was weird.
That was, like he told everybody to rush through the questions and then he asked some random, like,
fucking
weird
jousting.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Why don't you just ask boxers or briefs, Like,
have you ever been to Cambodia, DJ?
Yes, What's your favorite country? Not Japan.
There we go. Yeah, there was some weird questions in there.
I love the one where he was. Yeah, these people, they need to start listening to other people's questions and how they need to analyze the condition of the fighter before they start asking questions. Because did you see that? Like he just mentioned that basically he didn't want to talk about Henry Cejudo and all of that. Didn't seem like too much. And
yeah, it's like, what do you think he's gonna say? And
we haven't heard
think he's
yet.
already been asked that. Yeah, Jesus.
I think this media day is more for the fights, and what's going on in the one championship divisions rather than talking about Dana White and stuff like that. But I understand the people that are getting in their questions.
Welcome back to day 2 of the One on TNT One Virtual Media Day. We are now with Russian standout Raimond Magomedaliev, our final athlete scheduled for the day. Raimond, how are you feeling?
Раймонд, приветствую. Как вы себя чувствуете?
Приветствую, все хорошо, чувствую себя отлично. Жду не дождусь дня боя.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much. Feeling great. Can't wait for the fight day.
Raimond, your only loss in one championship was against James Nakashima. You then went on to win both your fights. What have you improved on since that loss?
Раймонд, у вас одно поражение против Джеймса Накашима. И какой прогресс после этого боя у вас был в плане скиллов, скажем?
Прогресс. Ну, это поражение, оно меня многому научило. Я вышел не в форме. У меня были травмы, мне тренера говорили, что я не выступал. Но я чуть поспешил и обжегся, да, можно сказать. Сейчас сделал выводы. А насчет прогресса, я думаю, по моим последним боям видно, какой у меня прогресс.
Well, to be frank with you, with James Nakashima, I wasn't really ready because during that day, before that day, I had an injury, but I still, accepted and continued to go to the fight. But then, yeah, you guys saw the result, and after the fight, I would say I've had a couple wins, so I believe you guys have seen my progress.
Now, Raimond, your next opponent, Tyler McGuire, was a former world title challenger. Do you think a win over him will give you a shot to be the next person in line for the world title?
Раймонд, у вас следующий бой с Тайлером, который претендовал на пояс. Думаете, если его победив, вы заслуживаете бой за пояс?
Думаю, что да.
I think, yeah, it is.
Raimond, we have media from all over the world here with some questions. I'm going to open the floor up now. Our first question is from Leon Jennings of Asian Persuasion MMA.
Hey, Raymond. Tyler, he's unbeaten in 3-round matches. What do you need to do especially well to beat him?
Тайлер силен в своем стиле. Что нужно именно сделать против него, чтобы победить его?
Ну, в своем стиле имеется в виду, наверное, борьбой. Я всю подготовку проходил в школе имени Абдулманата Нурмагомедова. Она ставится своей борьбой. Я думаю, меня ничем не удивить. Единственное, там может быть физическая сила, но сила не решает.
I mean, we know that Tyler is really good in wrestling, and I would say that, I had my training camp in one of the known places. It's a school of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. So, I was sharpening my wrestling skills. And what he can surprise me maybe with with his physical condition, but I would say my tactics, my technical skills will be higher than his physical.
A quick follow-up question: how do you envision getting the win come fight night?
Как ты думаешь, как ты победишь этот бой, если победишь?
Я думаю, знаете, я никогда не загадываю вперед, как я могу победить. Я просто выхожу и действую по ситуации. И если я нахожу какую-то брешь в обороне соперника, я буду действовать решительно. Стараться закончить бой досрочно. Но всегда стараюсь заканчивать досрочно. Потому что это нравится зрителям.
Well, to be frank with you, I never think about this. I always enter the cage, and it always depends in the situation during the fight. But what I can try to do is to finish ahead of schedule. So that's my goal.
Cool. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Удачи.
Next question from MMA Taba. MMA Taba, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Hello? Can't hear you.
Hello. There's something wrong with Zoom. All right, here you go. What did you learn just watching Tyler Maguire's previous fights, and what do you think are his strengths and weaknesses?
Смотря на бои Тайлера, что вы, ну, как сказать, изучили, и какие его сильные, старые стороны, слабые стороны?
Сильные и слабые стороны, не знаю даже, как их охарактеризовать. Посмотрел пару боев, примерно понял, как человек работает. Вот просто каждый соперник, он с другим, ну, как сказать, например, боец, он с каждым соперником работает по-разному. Приблизительно одно и то же ведение боя, да, тактика. А так, в принципе, ко всем один подход не может быть. И, ну, что я изучил? Изучил, что любит бороться человек. Нестандартная техника ведения боя в стойке, очень неудобный, корявый.
Well, to be frank with you, like every fighter in general, every fighter, you know, every fight tries to bring something new because, you know, it's kind of, he adapts to his opponent, right? But what I can tell about Tyler is he's good in his wrestling. That's like confirmed, and as well as he's very unique in his striking. It's just very hard to adapt in his kind of, you know, pace or his style. So I would say there's two things.
Thank you so much for your question, MMA Taba. Raimond, what do you think about the current one welterweight world champion Cameron Avasov, who is also from Russia? How do you think you match up against him?
Раймонд, что вы думаете про Камрана Абасова, про чемпиона? Он тоже из Советского Союза, из СНГ. Что вы думаете про него?
Что я могу о нем думать? Думаю только то, что у него есть пояс моей весовой категории. Все, больше ничего не думаю.
Well, what I can think, the only thing I can think is just he has a belt, and I need to take that belt. So I don't think anything else beyond that.
We have our next question here from Dylan Bowker, My MMA News. Dylan Bowker, please go ahead.
Hey there. I was noticing with the resume here that there's a diverse skill set in combat sambo, but also wushu, sanda, as well as wrestling. And with this being on TNT for the first time, quite the international platform, a lot of potential new viewers checking this out. I'm kind of wondering what aspects of the martial arts skill set that Raymond Magomedaliev is looking to showcase here.
Вы хорошо владеете, ну, стилем борьбы, и потом в стойке тоже. Вот что именно вы собираетесь показать в этом бое в плане стиля?
Зрелище. Осталось 2 дня, пускай потерпят, все увидят.
Well, I'll show you that show, a really good show, and we have 2 days, so let's wait and I'll show you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, guys.
We have a next question here from Singapore Strike Sports. Please go ahead.
Hi. Previously your last losses against James, you say that is because of due to injury, but you still went on to fight. And may I say, if you have a chance to face James again, do you think the result will be different?
Вы сказали, что у вас была травма с Джеймсом, но вы все равно приняли и продолжили бой. Если у вас будет шанс еще раз подраться с ним, вы бы хотели подраться, и вы бы победили его?
Я даже вот больше, чем бой за титул, я хочу подраться с Джеймсом Накашимой. Мне это будет интереснее, чем титул в перспективе.
Well, to answer your question, that I want to fight James more than I want to fight for the belt. That fight is more interesting to me.
Okay, so if you had the chance to fight James in a rematch, would you like it to be? How do you think the fight will go?
Если прям поставят вам бой против Джеймса, как вы думаете, как бой пройдет?
Как бой пройдет? Ну, точно не так, как первый бой.
Well, I can't say much, but I would say it's definitely not as the same as the first fight.
В первом бою все видели, наверное, что он мне сделал. Первый раунд я его перебил, второй раунд такой более-менее равный. В третьем раунде я уже физически не был готов, я не знаю, почему у меня подсела функционалка. В первом раунде, в первом ударе я сломал свою руку правую, он левша. С левшой надо работать больше правой рукой. Правой рукой я уже бить не мог, я больше работал ногами. Походу, вот из-за этого, из-за того, что я в ходе своей подготовки за травму не мог полноценный лагерь провести, я устал быстро. И в третьем раунде просто он повалил на меня, весь раунд на мне сидел. Моя главная задача была в третьем раунде, я уже не, физически не мог ничего делать, я просто когда слышал, что судья говорит, что он сейчас остановит бой, я какие-то телодвижения совершал, чтобы бой, главная цель была, чтобы бой не остановили, чтобы не получилось так, что он меня там выиграл досрочно ТКО там, или что-то в этом роде. В следующем бою я уже подойду в 100% форме, ему уже не так легко будет меня повалить, естественно, меня так, не знаю, что.
Вы правую или левую руку сломали?
Правую руку. В первом же ударе правой рукой я ее сломал, я ему попал в эту область, я бил рукой правой, он накнул голову и попал вот в область черепа. Получается, у меня перелом вот, кисти, да, правой руки.
Well, to add on, let me tell you like what happened, right? The first round, I felt that I won, and then second round was kind of even. And the reason he took the third round is because on the first round, I broke my the knuckles when I punched and like to his skull, and I broke my knuckle, so I couldn't really use that hand anymore, the right hand, and I tried to push second round at least to my max, but third round was just like very bad to me. He was controlling the ground, and I guess because of that round, he won his fight. But I promise you, but next fight I will be fully ready, and it will be a different result.
All right, thank you very much.
Our next question here will be from Leon Jennings of Asian Persuasion MMA. Leon, go ahead.
How do you feel about competing early in the morning?
Как ты чувствуешь драться именно утром?
Этот момент тоже чуть-чуть, не знаю, сейчас проверим, как это будет. Просто мне что не понравилось, то, что нам, я не знаю, может, организация не знакома с таким понятием, как акклиматизация. Мы нам взяли билеты, получается, мы приехали сюда в воскресенье, в четверг мы деремся. И мы деремся получается, 3-4 дня до боя, прилетаем, мы деремся по местному времени, это 8:30 утра начинается карт, а по тому времени, где я проходил подготовку, то есть у нас в России, это будет 3:30 утра. То есть хотя бы, я не знаю, дней 10, что ли, дали бы нам заранее билеты, чтобы мы могли бы адаптироваться к этому климату, к этому времени. Как-то чуть в этом плане сложновато. Не знаю, посмотрим, как пойдет. Может, все будет хорошо, может быть, будет сказываться тяжело в ходе поединка. Ну, на этом уже особо не зациклюсь, потому что есть, что есть.
Well, to be frank with you, it's going to be very interesting to me as well. And, I'm having right now the acclimatization period. I arrived on Sunday, and my fight is early in the morning. And, the early in the morning of my fight, it's the back in Russia, it's like 3:30 a.m. So it's gonna be really hard to me to adapt. I don't know exactly what will happen, but we will see during fight, of course, about my condition. But that's how I feel right now.
And you're on a stacked card. How do you see the main and co-main events playing out?
Что ты думаешь про в твоем карде ко-ивенте, обоих в ко-ивенте?
Главный бой?
Да.
Мне приятно драться в таком карде. Такой именитый боец, как Demetrious Johnson дерется. Я вот сейчас как раз увидел его, сфоткался с ним. Думаю, за счет силы своего опыта. Я, правда, не видел бои его соперника, а мышонка бои я видел. Я думаю, мышонок победит в этом бою. А вот Alvarez и Lapicus там 50/50. И Ротанг, я думаю, выиграет Ротанг. Это вообще какой-то кибер.
Еще раз?
Ротанг еще дерется у них, то есть в нашем карде. Первый бой, получается, в главном карде Ротанг с кем-то там дерется, я этого не знаю. Вот он, я думаю, точно.
Okay, so I would highlight three fights. It's Rotang. Rotang is just a crazy guy. I would say he's really strong in his physical condition. So I would say he will be the winner in that fight. And then also about the Eddie Alvarez, my feeling is just 50-50. So I believe we will see during the fight. And the last is the Demetrious Johnson. I don't know about his opponent, but about the Mouse, I know that he's really strong. So I would say Mouse will win.
Well, thank you. Good luck with your early morning fight.
Next question will be from Conan Altatis of Conan Daily. Conan, please go ahead.
Hi, Raymond. How did the general situation in Russia affect your training or preparation for this fight?
Как ситуация в целом в России и как это повлияло, может быть, на ваши тренировки?
В целом ситуация хорошая, никак не повлияла. У нас в первую и вторую волну были ограничения по поводу коронавируса. В принципе, вот эту подготовку, все было хорошо, нормально, зал работал, ребята приходили, все было отлично.
Well, it was very good. It was very good, I would say. We had first and second wave of a virus, and we had some restrictions to go to the gym. But, during my preparation, it was all good. All my training partners, all of them were in the gym, so it was okay.
Yeah, okay. You are from Dagestan, which is known for world-class MMA fighters. So just a follow-up to my first question. Tell us how the pandemic affected the MMA fighters in Dagestan.
Вы из Дагестана. Мы все знаем, что Дагестан является одним из самых сильнейших городов для ММА, скажем. Как это в целом повлияло на бойцов из Дагестана, может, эта пандемия?
В принципе, наверное, как и во всем мире, да, были изначально какие-то ограничения, но, тем не менее, там хоть залы и были закрыты, ребята как-то старались там совершать больше пробежек, то есть работа там дома как-то там, я думаю, не особо так повлияло, потому что во всем мире были одинаковые условия, в принципе, все как-то старались индивидуально работать.
Well, honestly, it's the same as globally. Like the condition that we had, it's same as around the world. The guys were more trying to do running, to do jogging, and also training at home. That we visit each other and try to train together at our own places. But it's just the same as everywhere.
Okay. Last question, Raymond. Both you and Tyler McGuire have knockout and submission wins, but where do you think can you beat Tyler more easily on the ground or standing up?
Оба ну, бойца, ты и Тайлер, мы побеждали стойки и внизу тоже в грэпплинге. Как думаешь, в этом бою, как ну, бой сложится, да? Именно победишь ли ты либо в стойке, или он победит либо в стойке, либо в сабмишине?
Я-то не думаю, что он победит. Так-то все может быть, но я такого не допускаю. Будет много возни, я думаю. Будет много возни, работы у сетки, в партере, борьбы будет много. Посмотрим, да? Не могу ничего сказать.
Well, again, we will see during the fight. You know, like it's gonna be a lot of like hustle. You know, we'll do a lot of cage work. You know, and also we will do a lot of the wrestling type of and grappling type. But I can't say right now to you. But I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a lot of hustle during the fight.
All right. Thank you, Raymond. Good luck.
Again, Raymond, thank you so much for your time. All the best in the circle.
Спасибо, Raymond. Удачи вам.
Спасибо вам тоже, удачи.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Members of the media, that interview wraps up our virtual media day. We've heard from some of the top MMA stars. And on April 7th in the United States and April 8th in Singapore, we get to watch them create history as one on TNT goes live prime time in the United States. Don't forget to catch all the action live. If you need further information on the athletes or the fights, you can contact the One PR team at pr@onefc.com. My name is Gianni Suba, and it's been a pleasure. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
You too, Johnny. There we go.
that was long. But I
Yes,
just saw a post on Instagram where Adriano is in Singapore. He's training, so he's there. So there's no hiccups.
That's
I guess
good. That is good.
It's very good to hear, man. Because I think that's the fight, man. Like that's the one. And I was looking at the comments from our media day from yesterday. Did you see the comment about how nobody really watches cable and that person, I guess they live in the US, and they said they haven't really seen any promotion for the One Championship shows over there. So
I
don't know.
I just saw that comment a second ago, actually.
Yeah.
From Damon 141722. Honestly, I don't know any people with cable here in America anymore. Yeah. It's so expensive. It's cheaper to pay subscriptions for 4 different streaming services. I haven't seen any advertisement for the One Championship TNT cards. Yeah, we were talking about that, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
Alan,
you
gotta
saying
advertise,
that,
right?
Yeah, One hasn't had any ads on TNT from what I've seen. Yeah, I didn't see anything on AEW. We were talking about it yesterday. Good to see John back. John KL. Yeah, that was an interesting day. I thought DJ was really fun. He seemed in a good mood.
That was a good one.
It's always good when DJ's feeling it.
Well, somebody should have trolled him a little at least and be like, "Oh, DJ, this is Dana White," just joking around, saying like, "Hey, this is Dana White. I got a question for you," and then I think he would have got a laugh out of that.
Oh dear. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I know Alan, you asked a bunch of questions that I should have asked Raymond. Completely missed those. I apologize. But thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions now, me and John are going to hang around for a little bit longer. We can talk if you want to know anything. John, how's life with you otherwise?
My life is the same, man. My life
good to
has
hear.
not changed at all. man, I'm excited for spring to come so I can start fishing. I've been out there
Fishing?
a couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times. It's freshwater fishing, not sea, not in the ocean, but yeah, like rivers and lakes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm getting back into fishing. I felt like I needed to add a hobby where I can go and just get my mind away from things. So fishing is it. And I bought everything I need, and I've been going out there just checking out spots. And when spring hits, I'm gonna be out there posting pictures on fishing, and most likely. That's
You didn't tell me about this fishing.
Nah, I didn't tell anybody about it. I'm telling you. I'm telling everybody right
There you
now.
go. Thought we were
But yeah.
friends. Thought you'd update me. That's an
Yeah,
important
well, you know,
update in your life.
I
John.
think when we speak, fishing is the last thing on my mind when we're talking about stuff. So it's usually
Should be the first.
Is
Fishing.
it? All right. Well, we'll
Should
be
be.
fishing, man. Any, you know, I talked to Ung about fishing. I told him like if he ever comes there, we're gonna go fishing. The last time I spoke to him.
You
So
talked to Ong about fishing. You wouldn't talk to me about fishing. All right. I see
well,
how
Ug's a fisherman. I don't know. Did you fish back in the UK?
No, I'm dreadful at fishing. Yeah, I just like going and sort of drinking a beer on the boat while other people
Whoa.
catch fish. Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good idea. That's a wonderful way to spend a day. To be honest
It
with
is.
you, it's a
Yeah, I'm
beautiful
gonna
way.
sort some of that out here soon. I think in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I want to go to Hong Kong and go fish on a boat over there eventually, like in the bay. I don't know what the fishing's like, but it's probably pretty decent, right?
I went squidding last year.
Okay.
Which is
Did you eat it?
slightly
Eat the
different.
squid?
We caught 2 squid on the entire boat of about 30 people, and they're
Oh
like
God.
this big, tiny squid. And then they just gave them to the kids to eat. So
Yeah.
I think I just had beer and Doritos. It was good fun.
Doritos are always good.
Yeah. All right, Alan Bones Jones, always here. Love the support, Alan. He's asking for your early predictions for what the fuck is this? Fly. It's like Bruce Buffer. Vittoria Holland, early predictions and what's next for the loser. I would feel terrible if Vittoria gets KO'd.
I think Vittori getting KO'd is probably the last on the list of possibilities for this fight. You know what I mean? When have you seen Vittori get KO'd? Whenever you really even seen Vittori hurt that badly, you know what I mean? Not in recent memory. And he's just getting better. He's one of the toughest guys in that division. I see Vittori just steamrolling Holland like badly, like embarrassingly. I think that's what's gonna happen. Holland, I don't know if he's made it's jumping back in after he went 5 rounds with Brunson. I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, especially against Vittori. You know what I mean? He's like, you got to pay respect, man. He's one of the best in that division and dangerous in every aspect, and he knows how to wrestle extremely well. And I think Vittori takes him down and just beats a hole in his head. That's what it should be the game plan, right? And with Holland, he should keep talking. You know what I mean? I think he should keep doing what he does, but fight a little bit more. You know what I mean? And keep his distance. And he could clip him. You never know. You know what I mean? Holland has deceptively fast hands, and he's really long in his reach too, compared to Vittori, I believe. So if he could stay outside, use his kicks, the front kick especially, to keep Vittori away, I could see him, competing in this fight. But I'm leaning towards Vittori going in there and having a great game plan and pretty much solidifying a title shot with the win over Holland, which is kind of weird to say.
Sepulot says, I think Holland just wants to quickly clear the bad air he got from the Brunson fight. Brunson versus Till next, Alan is asking. There's a follow-up there.
That should be the fight. I didn't even think Till should have been fighting Vittori. I felt like those guys are on different trajectories in that division. And with Brunson, Brunson, he's coming up. Till he's coming down. They could meet in the middle, and it'll be a hell of a fight. I don't know who I would take in that fight, but not yet. But yeah, that's a good fight to make next.
John KL saying, I liked Eddie's answer when he was asked where Khabib McGregor had all stood in the pound-for-pound legacy rankings, and he replied, number 2, moved to the next question. Yeah, John, do Do you think these guys like Eddie and DJ, they're kind of tired of still having to answer stuff about UFC? Do you think that's fair enough? 'Cause they've been in one for over a year now, haven't they? And
Yeah.
I try not to ask them about it anymore. Sometimes you have to, and
You have to.
I think
You have-
you're pretty good at working the questions in. When you had interviewed DJ, you gotta. There's a tactic, there's a strategy, isn't it?
Somewhat, you know what I mean? Like
You don't just come in like that guy did today and was like, "So, Cejudo, do you want to even the score with him?"
Yeah, well, you saw what his like line of of responses for like, especially with the Dana White thing. He just laughed it off, right? And rightfully so. You know what I mean? I'm that they don't have a good relationship, and he was never fully appreciated by the promotion, even though he went on one of the most incredible runs we will ever see in the sport. So yeah, they're always going to get the questions because they were the champions of that organization, right? And they are considered to be DJ's considered to be one of the best ever, and Eddie Alvarez is considered to be one of the best lightweights ever. So of course they're going to be always asked about fighters in their divisions, and most of the best fighters in the world, where do they compete? They compete in the UFC. You have to have a balance. You have to have both sides. You have to ask them about one, but then also you could throw in a couple about UFC. But let's be honest, UFC is the one that makes the headlines. That's the ones that get the clicks, right? Am I wrong?
DJ gets clicks and Eddie gets clicks regardless.
Of
From
course
my
they get it
experience,
regardless, but yeah, Dylan Bowker, yeah, some of those DJ questions were a tad rough. Yeah, they are, man, because they've been asking him for the last 2 years the same exact question, especially Henry Cejudo. Like, I think Henry Cejudo would be the last person you would ask to DJ about, because DJ's answered like every angle of that question ever. If it was something new, like a Figueiredo question or something like that, yeah, you could probably work that in there. But like that one reporter, he was asking about if you could fight anybody. Was it like Archuleta, Peter Yan? That was a good question. I like that question, and he answered honestly, like, Peter Yan is probably the most dangerous, which is good, man. Yeah. So you're gonna keep getting it. If I interviewed him, I'm gonna ask him. I'm not gonna lie to you right now and say like, no, I'm not gonna ask any questions about the UFC. I'm gonna ask him about any question that I feel like has any kind of link to that fighter, right? And there's always going to be a link, because they always were the champ, and then they were always, there was always, and like look at Chandler now. You don't think Eddie Alvarez is going to get asked about Chandler, because they fought twice and had some incredible. Did they fight 3 times? I forgot, but they had incredible fights, and they didn't even fight in the UFC. They fought in Bellator, but since Chandler's in the UFC now, about the challenge for the title, and Eddie fought him before, and Eddie was the UFC champion in the past, there's always a link there. So you have to kind of dig into that a little bit when you talk to him. But what can you do, man?
John KL again pointing out that one's also not selling tickets for this card. Can't blame them. It's like 8 a.m. weekday in Singapore. Yeah, so they're not even going to have one. I think one's had maybe 250 fans in the arena at Singapore Indoor Stadium for the last few shows. Well, yeah, over the last few months. That's going to be a bit weird, isn't it? Again, John, to have complete silence. I've been enjoying a small smattering of applause and cheers.
They
Makes
should
it a
just
little
bring in
bit better.
speakers and just blast like crowd noise. I think
It's
that would be
cheating.
all right. It's cheating,
Yeah.
What is the difference with that and laugh track on a sitcom?
You got me there.
Exactly, right? Like, have you noticed
This
like
is-
some sitcoms have
sitcom
laugh
is,
tracks and some don't?
Yeah,
weird.
I like both. Anyway, what about Paddy Pimblett? John is also asking. I think
Paddy
he was
Pimblett?
kind of
I'm not-
jokingly saying, should he be in the talk here? What we were talking about earlier, but yeah, how do you think he's gonna start in the UFC? What's a good opponent for him, John?
I have no idea.
Versus the
is
country
he a
of
lightweight?
Georgia.
I
don't
saw
even know.
I saw that little back and forth, and he kind of made, he kind of cleared the air with that. like,
yeah, that was good.
you know, and he apologized. It was great, man. Like Paddy's known to kind of go back and forth with people, right? He's known to get into a little bit of a scuffle because of the type of fighter he is, the type of person he is, and you gotta love him for it. But you know, when you make a mistake and you do something that's not with any kind of intent of malice, like you gotta go back and explain to people like what you meant about it, and that's what he did. And you gotta move on from that. You know what I mean? Now I'm pretty sure every MMA fan from Georgia is going to want him to fight somebody from Georgia now, right? So we'll see what I think. One of the guys, was it Garzon? He just did an interview recently, and he's talking about he wants to introduce Paddy to the UFC. So put that fight together. Paddy, you know, he's been touted for many years now. Let's see what he can do. Throw him in there with someone from Georgia. You know, I used to live in Georgia, not the country, the state. So I kind of feel a connection to that a little bit.
Ooh, MMA Island. What do you guys think about DJ's response to the Cejudo question? Yeah,
man, MMA Island. You guys, some of you guys had a good question, but it wasn't you guys that asked about Cejudo's. Was it you guys that asked about Cejudo and how like DJ, you know, does that still like, you know, sit in the back of his head or something like that, and he said no. And then I don't think that was you guys. So I don't remember the question that you guys asked about Cejudo, but I don't know. I don't know how Cejudo ties in with all of this though. Like this fight that's coming up with Adriano, but
Cejudo's retired as well. So I just
Cejudo's
think there's no point
retired
asking about
and
it. But
Cejudo doesn't even say anything about DJ at all.
Yeah.
It's been a long time he said anything. Okay, yeah, MMA, you're right. That was behind the grind. Okay,
all right, good. Because that question absolutely sucked. I didn't want to go all in if it was you guys. I've asked some terrible questions in
exactly.
my time. Yeah.
All of us make mistakes. I've asked some questions. I've gotten to this before where I get into a question and then I got lost in what I was trying to ask, and I'm like trying to pull it through. You know what I mean? Like that's why I try to keep my questions as short as possible, because I don't want to get lost in the question and get screwed, you know, screw myself. So, you know, everybody's been there. Everybody that interviews fighters.
I got the same response from DJ once, one word no, for like an incredibly long-winded, awful question I asked him. So I've been there.
Everybody does it, man. Everybody makes mistakes. You know, you just got to keep going. You can't let that one mishap kind of control or dictate the rest of the interview. You got to recover fast, man. That's what's important too.
That's true.
Recover fast. So
JHK spitting truth here. Here we go. Chris Edwards Bailey. What up, Chris? A lot of one content on the Schmo and Anatomy of a Fighter. Would love to see them cover the less known fighters. Yeah, Anatomy of a Fighter went to Sanford, I think, didn't they? And they just did a bunch of stuff.
I think
with
that they
Arn
worked
Martin.
out a deal. Like one and Anatomy of a Fighter, they worked out a deal where he would. No, I don't think they went to Sanford. They followed Eddie and DJ around.
They did some stuff in
Sanford too.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I think what's his name? What is it? The Schmo is down in Florida, so they're making the rounds down there because it's pretty open. You know what I mean? You could go travel in Florida, and there's all the gyms. You got Sanford, you got Colby Covington's gym, you got American Top Team, and I'm pretty sure the Schmo is welcome in all those facilities. So of course you're gonna take advantage of that. You know, one thing about Schmo, man, he's hustling, he's going around, you know, and working hard, man, to get these interviews. I'm not a big fan of him and the character, but I respect the grind of the Schmo, man. He's out there. If I was in America, you know, Nick, I would be doing exactly what the Schmo is doing. I would be flying to Florida. I'd be flying to Las Vegas and trying to do as much as possible if I could. You know what I mean? If I had the financial, because, you know, he has sponsors and stuff like that. That's one thing good about him as being a freelancer. You have the sponsors and stuff helping you out. So it's easier to get it when you have a good platform like he does, the Schmo.
Alan back saying, what do you guys make of the Cambodian Leon? Well, I just gave Leon the link for this chat. I forgot to give it to him earlier. So hopefully he's going to jump in and join us. We're going to get.
And also, should I become a character too, Nick? Should I become the hoe? You know, like Asian like version of the Schmo, but I'm the hoe, but like not a hoe as in like a prostitute, but like a hoe as in like that's my name, you know, because I'm hoe.
Do it.
Should I
The
do it?
code?
Like, should I buy some like Asian garbs and like start doing the interviews as the hoe?
Do it. Do what you want to do.
No, I'd rather be me, man, to be honest with you. You know, Nick, you know me long enough. I'd rather just be me. I don't want to be another person. I don't want to be like, I'm not really a type of person to like idolize people and stuff like that. You know, I respect people a lot, but like idolizing and stuff like that, that's not something I'd like to do. But that would be a fun thing to do in the future is I'm the hoe.
Talking of people who are themselves,
Talking
Leon
of
Jennings.
hoes.
Talking of
The biggest hoe of Cambodia is with us right now.
Why are you running with this Cambodian nonsense?
I don't know. It's just like something that people are, people are just going with. They love it. They love
Well, no,
Cambodia.
one person made the very false claim from false knowledge because they were stalking me badly.
Let's present that question to Leon. Leon, you know the Schmo, right? Did you meet him before? You
Yeah,
probably
I've
did,
met him a
right?
few times,
Okay. Yeah. So you know the Schmo. What if I became a character and my name was the hoe?
The hoe.
The hoe. You know, like playing off like the Asian name hoe.
It means something different in America, doesn't it?
Exactly, but still, like it's still the same, you know. Like, what if
Well,
I
me-
like?
Me and Nick were talking about the Schmo the other day, saying that obviously he's kind of cut in front of a lot of people in the queue, but he deserves it. He deserves it. I mean, I get the feeling I think you said before you're not a big fan of his, are you, John?
No, I'm not a fan of like being a character and stuff like that. That's like pro wrestling stuff. Like, if he was in pro wrestling, I'd be like, it's all for it, right? But this is MMA. This is different.
But it was a genius move.
Was it a genius move or was it just he
it
was
was.
always the Schmo, right? Before even
No, he's a new character. He was like the rest of us. He's passionate about sports, wanted to break into it, and we all grind. Well, most of us do, and we know we've got to grind. And that's the only way you can get to the top. But there's shortcuts, and he found a shortcut. And it's a shortcut. It's a clever one. It showed his intelligence. I think you can't have anything but respect for him. And like
No, I have
respect
for the Schmo. He grinds. And
Grind,
there's no doubt
very
about that.
knowledgeable. He knows his facts. He knows what he's talking about. But he created this character, and it was genius because he went from being a nobody. Within a couple of weeks, everyone was talking about him. Who the hell is this nutter? And now he's got. Since then, he's been to every single UFC event in Fight Island, in Las Vegas, with obviously his girlfriend Helen Yee. So I think I don't know how you can't respect that.
No, you respect it. Of course, I respect it, but I'm not like a fan of being a character. I'd rather be myself. Like, I don't need to like become somebody else to garner more attention. I'd rather do it as myself, as me, the real person. You know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is. Like, he did it. You know, I'm not jealous or I'm not like hating on him. I respect his grind because he does work hard, man. And he's developed the incredible network. But like, I'm telling you right now, man, you never know. One day I'm gonna be the hoe, and you guys are gonna not even anticipate it.
Make your mind up. You're either Mr. High and Mighty, I don't need a character, I'm going to be myself, or you're going to be the hoe, which is
Well,
it?
I might get desperate, and then like I was like, I might get desperate and just be like, okay, I'm the hoe. This is the pro. I can't steal his thing, so I gotta create something different.
Do it.
You're talking to the hoe, the biggest hoe on planet Earth. You're talking to the biggest hoe. And
Do
I'm
it.
joined by
I just
Leon
do it.
Jennings of AsianPersuasion.com. I gotta change my voice too.
is,
Should I do it like this? You're talking to.
Thing is, though, good luck finding a character which is as successful as Schmo's been, because it's easy said than done. Although it was a great idea, he still had to make a character that caught the world's attention, and he did. And he done it obviously in that famous press conference. I think it was about 15 months ago, and obviously he hasn't looked back since.
Yes, MMA Island. They have a perfect hoe with the fro. That's right. That's good. I'm gonna get a fro. I'm gonna get an afro and then be like, you're joined by the hoe with the fro. Or sorry, I gotta do the Asian accent. You're done by the ho with the pro. With the pro. Okay.
That's money. That's money right
That's
there.
money
Joe.
right there, all day, every day. I'm just telling you, like, I need to do that, and I'm pretty
Do
sure
it.
the fans, the fighters will love it because they'd just be laughing at me, right? Right? Am I lying? Right? Look at Nick. Nick doesn't. He doesn't even have to see it. He knows it's gonna be chaos. It's just gonna be
Depends.
all
And
kinds of
the thing is,
ridiculous
your
stuff.
character's got to be good. It's got to be clever. It's got to be funny. It's got to kind of be genuine in a way because you need to just pull it off. But then he's got his podcast, which is himself, and you can tell now he's used this character to get where he is, and
Of course,
probably doesn't get the respect he deserves because of that.
Well, he doesn't need to get the respect because he gets the numbers. The numbers are, at the end of the day, respect means nothing.
He wants respect, and
It's
he
the
earns
numbers.
respect because he's got a good brain on his shoulders. He asks good questions. He's intelligent. He does his research. When he goes into interviews, he's knows what he's
Leon's trying to
talking
get a
about.
job at Schmo Network. What are you doing, Leon?
being
Let's
honest.
tell the truth.
I know you're a hater, but I'm not.
No, I'm not hating on him, and I'm a hater. I'll let you know I'm a hater. You're a hater too. Everybody's a hater once in a while, right? It's just natural. But I'm just saying, I need to make a character. You know, if I become the character the Ho, you guys know that I'm.
You don't need to because you've already established. You're on the verge of, I would think. I mean, for me, it's crazy. The likes of you and James Lynch aren't employed full time by one massive MMA outlet. It's crazy.
I'm trying to get John.
I know Nick's angling for that, but it's crazy for me that. And obviously, Schmo, he's where you were a few years ago. You've done the grind. You must be on the verge of having all that hard work and grind suddenly become. Well, you are to a certain extent with SCMP, but to go full time and to really make a name of yourself, which is what you want, which is what you deserve as well.
If it doesn't happen, then I'm gonna become the Ho, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you right now. I'm gonna become the Ho, man. Like I'm gonna have a
You can do
show,
that on
and
the
the
side, but I
intro
don't think-
music's gonna be like dun 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 dun, and then Bruce Lee will come out with the flying kick, and I'll be like, I'm the Ho.
You can
Right?
do that on
And I'm
the
gonna be
side.
wearing,
I don't think you're in a position where you need to.
I know, but it might happen. You never know what's gonna happen in the next year. I might get desperate and just be like, I'm the Ho. Check out the Ho. I'm gonna have to get another Asian guy or girl to come on too, and she can't be the Ho because that would be kind of messed up. But I'll be the Ho, and I'll wear some like Asian like what is it, Bruce Lee outfit, but it looks like a gigolo outfit. Like I'm gonna turn it into like with the open chest and fake chest hairs, and I'm gonna go to the UFCs.
Do you know what Schmo reminds me of? Or it's gone down a similar path. Uncle Roger. Again, a comedian called Nigel, I think Noom. He's in England. He's doing all right. He comes out of this character, Uncle Roger. And now suddenly all his videos have got tens of millions of hits just by coming out of this genius character. Again, it's easy said than done.
Oh, I love that guy. The guy that does the food reviews, right?
That's like Slate's
What's
Jamie
Uncle
Oliver
Roger?
and
Oh, it's funny, dude. Like
again, how
he's a
genius.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
He's a
so
comedian
funny.
who's struggling to make that
Hilarious.
next leap. He comes
I
out
need
of
to
the
hook up with
character.
him and do a show.
Well, he's in KL with me now. I'm
Oh,
thinking
is he?
of
Do you
getting
know
in
him?
touch with him.
Do you know him?
I don't know him,
Yeah,
but
if you know him.
I've got a connection with him.
All
He's
right.
been living in England. He's now back in KL.
All right. Does he visit Cambodia often? Is that the connection?
I don't know. Probably not. Probably the same.
No, but
probably-
yeah, it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome to see him like come on and you talk to him and stuff like that. Does he watch MMA or anything?
No.
Okay. Well, Uncle Roger or whatever his name is, he's good. He's funny. Like if you're like Asian, he's triple funny because he can just do the accent perfectly, and it's just he's hilarious. Like even without the accent, he's hilarious. But yeah, you're right. That guy, I would like to see him. He'd be the other character. I would be the Ho, and he would be whatever.
That's it. You need to find that. You need to have that little genius moment, and then you need to have, like, obviously, Uncle Roger. He has the humor. He has the quick-wittedness to go with it, and even when he does live stuff, he obviously bounces off people. So, yeah, you just got to find your niche and then go with it.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your
Like,
character, Leon?
The Cambodian king. They already
Yeah, the
named him,
Cambodian
dude.
king. Yeah.
The funny thing is, right, I've had a mate of mine a few years ago saying, like, because I love things like Trigger Happy, and do you know Trigger Happy? And like the Phone Jacker.
Yeah. What was his name? Tom Jolly.
Tom Jolly, yeah, and
Yeah.
Phone Jacker, and Impractical Jokers. My mate said to me a few years ago, he goes, "You've been doing all this for years." And I have, but just on a smaller scale, just with friends, just doing stupid things, making people laugh. I've just obviously never done it on a global stage on TV. But
Well, now you've got 2.5 billion potential viewers to see it on this podcast, Leon.
I've got my big
Sorry.
fan base in Cambodia.
Yeah.
They've always got my back.
Always
But,
got
you
your
know, just-
back.
But like like we were talking about earlier, man, the Schmo and Helen Yee, them two, they're doing a great job, man. Respect to them, traveling around during a pandemic. You know what I mean? It's somewhat of a risk, going out there and visiting a lot of people and then just being in contact and yeah, they're in the grind and they have massive audiences with their channels. There's nothing to like really hate about them. You know what I mean? I'm just because from our position, you could respect that, like them, like just putting everything on the
Well,
line.
Leon, we hung out with them, didn't we, a little bit in Tokyo? They were very nice people. I think we had a pizza
They've
with
been
them.
very lucky in the fact that they've suddenly went from almost nothing to being flown out to Fight Island. They're there, exclusive. Not many reporters there, so they're getting exclusive after exclusive. They're at every single UFC event because they're based in Las Vegas in the Apex. But you make your own luck in this world, and then they just done the right thing at the right time, and suddenly they've just had the UFC world at their feet. They couldn't have asked for any more.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that reminds me of another point I wanted to bring up actually on the One Media call we've just been on. I know we media tend to stick together in that, but I'm going to call out a load of the media for asking the worst questions I've ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah, we were just chatting earlier.
The media
But
in the West need to learn about one championship. Some of the questions were just embarrassing. Calling the circle the octagon. Like yesterday, people didn't know how many times Eddie Alvarez has fought in one. You've got like people go, DJ, do you care about what Dana thinks? Of course he does. Like, if you know anything about these, like DJ, some of the questions were just ridiculous. And I don't like to be critical, but the media need to kick up the arse when it comes to one championship. They need to do what we've all done and just put in the hours. I didn't know anything 3 years ago when I started, but I put in the time, I put in the hours, and now I know the product and the athletes pretty well.
yeah, Alan is saying thanks for asking good questions, Leon. You were really a trooper there at the end, going back for more with Raymond. You did another set of questions.
I may have got a little message there saying, "Can you ask us some more questions?"
Oh really? I thought you did. They left me alone.
Funnily enough,
I was
Raymond
like-
didn't get as many questions as DJ for some bizarre reason.
There was a funny one where I think it was, I can't remember which fighter it was, maybe DJ, yeah. And then this guy came on, they put him on, and then he's like, "Hi DJ, I just have one question for you." And then DJ's like, "Yep, sure." And then you could hear him like rustling a piece of paper, and he read it off in like a robot voice. "What do you think of this?" Literally reading a question planted.
Somebody sounded like they were in the middle of a war too. You just hear like
the dogs barking and
and like
well,
there was
the
like
things blowing up, yeah.
buildings like collapsing in the background. It's like I was like, what is going on over there?
And asking DJ about fighting in the US. It's like, I'm in Singapore.
Oh my god! What
yeah,
the
that
hell
was weird, dude. That was
the guy kept digging the grave. Like he's like, yeah.
But the thing is, like the UFC media days are not much better. You know what I mean? It's not.
Oh yeah.
I don't get involved with them because all at like silly o'clock. They start like at midnight and end at 6 in the morning. And I'm not staying up to get one question if I'm lucky.
There's no point really because
point. What's the
there's
point?
like 50 outlets uploading those videos.
I don't generally post any of them either anymore because everyone does.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy from BBC who asked Till if he's going to
about
fight
the weight-
McGregor? Something. It's
That was the BBC.
yeah. He's like, Conor McGregor's a lightweight. Brilliant.
yeah, Till's the best, dude.
And DJ makes me laugh because he just literally laughed in the face of some of the questions.
Yeah, DJ wasn't messing around today, was he? He wasn't taking any shit.
That's his personality. That's why I just
Yeah.
don't get why he's not he's not more popular than he is, because he's just popular for what he's done in the octagon and now the one circle. But he's got a huge, fun personality. But he's just never really caught on with the fans in the West.
Why hasn't he? Because he still does huge numbers in terms of people are interested in, like, especially reading his. After he's had a fight, I always get massive traffic on the reaction to his fight, whatever he says. Get like 50,000 to 100,000 page views, something like that. But he doesn't have that same. Maybe he doesn't speak in sound bites. Is that it? Like, he doesn't say outlandish things. Doesn't trash talk.
He swears, he drops F-bombs, he just doesn't directly trash talk his opponents. So it's not as if he's, I think people just think he doesn't trash talk, he's boring. He's not boring. I'm not saying that swearing is cool or anything, but it's not like, it's a little bit outlandish, well, maybe not so much in this day and age, but it's not as if he's completely squeaky clean. Yeah, he's a family man, but he's fun, he takes the piss out of silly questions. He does drop the F-bomb and that. It just has a laugh.
He reminds me of a lot like Volkanovski. If you watch both those guys, they're very similar in that aspect. They're great fighters. You know, Volkanovski, of course, he has a lot more to do to accomplish what DJ has, but their personalities are very similar. People, because Volkanovski will chat shit. He'll talk shit too, you know. It's just people just don't pick up on it, you know, and I don't know. It just happens sometimes. It just happens. Just some guys, they just like, look at Vicente Luque. Like, he's one of the most exciting fighters, I think, right now, fighting in the UFC, but not very popular. You know what I mean? Like, he just went in there and mauled Tyron Woodley, like, easily, better than anybody has.
Better than Oumar and Covington.
Yeah, better than all of them, and they're just not talking. And you know, Vicente's not a guy to, you know, talk crazy about other people, but if you look at his violence, like the violence that he puts out there, it's incredible. Like, he should be a bigger star, but he's not. And then you got, you know, certain guys that are just talking all the time or just have the cult following. And I think cult followings are so important nowadays in the UFC or in just MMA in general. And DJ doesn't really have that cult following, I don't believe. I wish he did, but what can you say?
It's nice in a way. We've got different characters. Not everyone's the Conor McGregor. We've got guys like DJ. I just spoke to Christian Lee yesterday. I love talking to him. He's so sort of calm, and again, he's a bit like that. He doesn't trash talk directly, but he's honest. He responds to trash talk. But again, that sort of personality doesn't sell like pay-per-views if you're in the UFC. Doesn't get you hundreds of thousands or millions of followers on Instagram. Even though I really like that kind of character. It'd be nice if down the road those characters get as much followings and all the other bits that come with it as the trash talkers. Although I guess I get the feeling with both DJ and Christian Lee, they don't really care. They don't care if they're followed by 10 people, 10 million. They're martial artists. Their job is in the cage or the ring, and the rest of it they just don't care about. But I think from us fans, we'd love to see them be more appreciated.
Well, the thing is with them is that they get paid the same no matter what. It doesn't matter if they, you know, formulate trash talk or beef or anything like that. There's no extra pay-per-view points. There's nothing like that. It's like they get contracted to fight. They're getting paid what they get paid, what is written on the contract, right? So if they talk trash, if they don't talk trash, if they promote the fight, if they don't, they just basically all they need to do is do what One Championship asked them of, with media especially, and that's it. And anything extras they're doing on their own. So that's why, to you journalists watching right now, you guys need to develop your connections early and don't wait until these guys are already big names and try to hop on, because that's not going to help you, man. A lot of the times, like when you look at a lot of the guys that get interviews, like, you know, with bigger names, the guys that are like that don't do many interviews, most of the time they're doing interviews with people that they've already done interviews with in the past, like long time ago when they were coming up. So it's so important to get the relationships. You can't rely on the promotion all the time, because most of the time the promotion is not going to help you.
It's weird. you had a completely different approach to this than I have. And I respect your way so much more. For me, I don't know if it's because I built a website almost straight away and then started out from nothing. For me, I felt if I was going to interview someone, I'd be embarrassed if my video didn't get many hits, because I was thinking, I don't want to waste their time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to build up a brand. So then I knew when I spoke to someone, they'd get the views they deserve. Even though with YouTube's algorithm, that isn't even the case now. I've got 8,000 subscribers, and some videos with big names don't get 50 views, and others get like tens of thousands. But I wish, I respect and I appreciate more your route of doing it, of talking to everyone and from the bottom up. And like I said about the schmo, that's easier said than done. Not only do you have to be willing to do that, you have to do the research. You can't just think, I'm going to speak to someone who no one's heard of and not know anything about them. So you've got to learn it, and it's more difficult to learn about someone who no one's heard of than Conor McGregor when you used to go to his Wikipedia page, or you don't even need to do any research because you just know because you took it in over the years. So respect as well for how you've approached it. And that's why I said earlier, likes of you and James Lynch have done that, deserve the world in the MMA media outlets.
There's many different ways of doing it, right? Like you said, you built a website and then you built the following from the website, and that kind of gives you some pull with fighters too. You know, it gives you some pull with the organizations to help you get in contact with certain individuals, right? That's gonna, help you grow your brand on top of that. So, like, I love that there's many different ways of doing it, and you got to respect every single way. The only way you should not respect is people trying to cut corners, people trying to backstab each other. Those are the people that you got to stay away from, and people that think that they're better than everybody. That's another thing that is big in this industry, right? So, respect people's grinds, man. I see so many guys right now, and Leon and Nick probably see so many guys right now doing their own thing, doing their own channel, and they suck. I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of them suck terribly, right? But I sucked too, and I took the same path they did. But the difference, I think, between me and a lot of people is that I was writing about MMA years before I started doing these video interviews. And that's the difference, right? I was basically a beat writer for a few years, maybe around 3 years. And then I turned to interviewing, right? And then created my own page and started that way. But I actually have connections from when I did my writing, right, to use for my interviewing. And then I interviewed almost everybody, the Australian scene, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia, and of course, North America, Europe, and all that. And just picking guys that I think like, okay, this fighter looks like they're going to be pretty good, or they're going to be a decent prospect. Let's talk to them. And then a lot of those guys are in the UFC now, like deep into their careers. And, like, let me give you a good example is Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Like, I remember interviewing him. He said I was the first interview he ever did for MMA. Isn't that crazy? And look at him now. And that was even a few years ago only a few years ago.
Cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. And now it's like I could message him and he'll respond and he'd be like, anytime, man, like I'll interview. It's all good. I'm just like, it's easy for a fighter to go up and get to that top echelon of a promotion or organization and just forget about everybody. But there's a lot of guys are very loyal to that, you know what I mean? And they respect that, and they don't forget. And Jairzinho is one of those guys, man. That's why I always really respect Jairzinho. And he's still young in his career. It's not like he just fell off or something like that. He's a great fighter. And and he's always good chat. And he's a hard interview too. It's not like he's easy to talk to. He's a guy that kind of like, you don't know what kind of answer you're going to get from him. But if you get him open up a little bit, he pulls out some diamonds once in a while. So it's always fun. There's a lot of questions, though. You want to get to those?
Quickly, I just want to say as well, yeah, we all suck when we begin. But then the quickest way to get through that period is just grinding. And I remember similar, although I wasn't doing it online, when I first started covering one event, so I just went from being a UFC fan, basically a long-term UFC fan, typical UFC fan in the Western, where nothing else happened in the MMA world outside of UFC, to moving to Asia to learn it, to discovering one. And then I was going to all the events. And when I first started going to events, I didn't know a single fighter on the card. So I was nervous, didn't know what I was doing. I was doing research. But there's only so much research you can learn. And it's not quite the same as building up knowledge over years, where it's just, when you're nervous and you're trying to remember something you've just learned, it's almost impossible. and then you just keep grinding until, again, there's a great saying, isn't there? An expert in anything was once a beginner.
Yeah,
So
always.
we've got to start somewhere.
And you know, like people being trash when they first start, everybody's trash, and you just got to keep going and not listen to the people. Even me, I might say you're trash. I might say you're not very good. Don't listen to me, because my opinion does not matter. You know what I mean? And usually I don't talk about other people's like channels and stuff like that because there's no reason to. Why? I try to not say negative things about other people in the media, you know, because I think it's pointless in many ways, unless it's something that's serious, you know, like as in the Asian thing that happened, right, with Nick's homeboy. But I'm just messing with you, Nick. But
again, I don't like to quit. I like to try and be positive, but I just wanted to give the media a kick up the arse about that one championship, because again, I'd probably be guilty as well if I was in the West, sleeping on one championship. But even like some of the big MMA websites, when I read like MMA Junkie, their interviews of one athlete, they get little facts wrong about weight classes and this and that, because they just don't follow one as well as say we do when it's in our backyard. But again, I think if you're going to cover something, you need to put the hours in to get a good understanding of it.
yeah, and another thing is, you know, just because you get one interview and your interview does like a couple thousand views, right, on YouTube, because YouTube, you could actually see like the numbers, right? So you get a couple, like let's say you're early in your career or whatever, you're early in doing this interviewing, and you get a couple thousand views. A lot of these guys get big heads after one interview with a couple thousand. That's just one interview, man. Like do like 5 in a row, you know, do like, you know, because Schmo gets big numbers, right? So if you're up to, you know, one interview doesn't make you. You know, one interview, you could have that one, and then maybe you get that 15 minutes of, you know, people sharing it and complimenting you. And then after that, who else do you got? You just got to go back to what you were doing. You can't just dwell on one interview that was great, because if you do, then you're just going to be living off that and be like, oh, I deserve more because I did 5,000 views on my interview with Henry Cejudo, which probably will never happen, right? Because Henry Cejudo is very difficult to get. But I'm just saying, you can't dwell on that. These guys, if you're watching, if you're listening, you got to keep doing what you're doing.
Especially the way YouTube algorithm works. Some videos can just get a little bit of momentum and get tens of thousands. Others can be a miles better interview, a bigger name, could be the best interview you've ever done and gets no views. It's crazy. I mean, I interviewed Oumar a lot of times. One time I interviewed him. Yeah, I only got about a few hundred views within the first few months, which is crazy for an online interview. And then suddenly, about 6 months later, it got about 25,000 views in about a week. So suddenly something happened, and then the algorithms kicked in, and suddenly 6 months after the interview, and it's not even new news anymore, YouTube does something crazy, and the video went crazy. But
Nick, what about the Ong Media Day that you did? That still gets massive amounts of views, doesn't it?
What you mean, the face-off?
No, not the face-off. The one even way before that, when they were in Myanmar.
Oh no,
With,
that was
Martin.
that was in KL. I was with Leon.
Okay, in KL. Yeah,
but
but
they visited like the Burmese
KL,
community and did an event. Yeah, that was
and
bad.
they did like a Q&A
we all
thing,
got
right?
crazy numbers. Well, I think me and Nick, I don't know if anyone else posted like a video of him walking in and that, but
Yeah.
for two people to get a big hit in this, doing the same thing in a one event, that's pretty crazy, because the way YouTube algorithm works, normally one particular outlet, their video tends to do well and leaves the other one in the trail. But another point you mentioned, I think unless you get to the point of the Schmo MMA fighting or the Mac life, you can't guarantee, no matter how good a video is, that you're going to get good numbers. It's just, it's in YouTube's hands. And there are tricks, there are, I think Nick knows a few softwares of learning how to do it and that, but it's all a bit of a game.
Yeah,
isn't
if
it?
you don't have the funds, the best thing for you, I'm gonna give you guys some information that are doing YouTubes, right? If you have no money, because I have no money, right? Of course, I make money doing interviews and stuff like that, but I have really, compared to like to Schmo and all these outlets, I have no money, right? One thing you need to do is download or add TubeBuddy to your YouTube page. Number 2, tags. Get the tags in. Go look at other videos that are popular. Look at their tags. Use that for your tags for your videos, the interviews you do. The title is so important. Don't put your own name in the title. Just put the fighter's name and keep it kind of short, and try to add the other fighter's name in the title. If it's a good quote, get a good quote in there. As long as it mentions the other fighter's name that they're fighting. And hashtags, put the hashtags in there. That's important too. Those are just basic things you should know about YouTube if you're doing YouTube, and it will help you somewhat. But it's not going to help you like massively, but it's going to help you a lot more when people search things on YouTube. But that's just me kind of telling you maybe things that you might know. But if you don't, maybe add it to your channel and it will help you. But man, even now, like I have to rely on algorithms, and I'm not to the point where it's like I've just put out any interview and people are getting massive viewership, or there's a massive viewership for it. So it's just a continuous grind, man.
Grind, because you're not going to get any help from Facebook or YouTube.
No, you're not.
You're not. You might get the odd video where they give you a bit of a bump. You can't, like you said, John, even if you do one video that gets 500,000 views, you definitely can't guarantee that that next video is going to do the same thing. You can get 50 views. So you just got to keep putting in the quality work, and in the end, you hope you get out what you put in.
Yeah, like Nick, he recently did the face off with Reug Reug, and who's the guy he was fighting? Alan, right? And that thing got massive views, right? And I think it was just because it just kind of hit the wave and rode the wave for a while. Because if you watch the interview, the face off, it's chaos, right? It's just nuts, right? What's going on? But maybe that's what attracted people to it. And maybe people shared it because of that reason. Like, check this face off out. It's just insane what's going on, right? So
what was more chaotic, today or that one? The one today was a mess. So.
No, I think that one was better. It's better to watch that one.
I interviewed him, I think, last week, and that was pretty chaotic. Then I saw Andy Whitelaw's his screenshot of his interview. Looked even more chaotic. There's like a translator and someone next to Reug Reug sharing earphones together.
The first time that one when I did it, the face off, there was like 5 people in this chat, and then one of them just wasn't saying anything, and then I had to just kick him out because I was like, I'm going to start the interview now. Like, I think it was his coach. He was just hanging out in the chat. I'm like, why do you need to be there? Anyway, who's got any questions? You want to get out of here, guys, or what?
Maybe 9 more minutes. We'll do it until 12.
Yes, let's do it till 12.
Minutes. Yeah, 9 more minutes.
All
We'll
right.
edit out. So, yeah, just to for if you do have any questions right now about like the MMA media, if we could answer them, we'll answer them. Put them.
There's one from Alan here. How did Ariel become the face of MMA media, and what?
We just told you. We just told you exactly what Ariel did. He grinded, and he was one of the first. Yeah, he started from the beginning. He was there at Strikeforce shows. He had some iconic interviews with like Nick Diaz, Rampage Jackson. Those are some big interviews that came out. Even when I was just a fan watching the sport, I still remembered him interviewing like the big names, and being at all the shows. And he started with a smaller outlet himself, and he just worked his way up, man. I think it's, a lot of the guys that are around right now that are the bigger names, like John Morgan was around way longer than Ariel was. I mean, I think he was around like in the early 2000s or maybe even the late 90s or something like that.
If one championship's still going in 20 years, Leon and I, are we going to be like the John Morgan and Ariel? We'll get first question.
Leon will be like
first question.
Yeah.
Did you get the first question? It seemed like Drake was getting all the first questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, yesterday I got the first question every time, and then I got the first question in Reug Reug's one, and then suddenly the next two I got last. I was like, Tam, what's going on? I went, I wouldn't mind so much, but some of these questions are embarrassing. She went, I was trying to just be fair. And then I got the first question in the last one again.
Yeah.
It's a press conference tomorrow as well, right?
Yeah.
What the hell?
What?
Yeah.
So I've had to submit.
Yeah, they asked me to submit some questions for it. I'm like,
for the press conference.
Just asked a bunch.
Aren't you supposed to be there? Aren't you supposed to be there with a mic and be like, yes, my name is the Ho.
Not in 2021.
What else we got here?
Big Rig.
Errol Awani and and John Morgan, not only did they put the grind in, they were there in the early days when not everyone was trying to cover MMA.
Oh,
Now, almost every man and his dog is trying to cover it. So it's even more important to grind now because the competition is so much more fierce. Back then, that wasn't an issue so much.
Yeah, there's some good questions, man. Like,
yeah, let me
Alan
get to
Bones
this.
Jones.
Bonesy asking
Who's the easiest fighter?
yeah.
I mean, easy to ask.
I will say I had a really fun time interviewing Kevin Holland before the Brunson fight. He made it so easy. He just was happy to talk about anything, and he'd start going off on tangents. He just gives you sound bites for days. He made it very easy. Some other fighters just don't really want to talk, and I get it. It's fight week, but I don't know, guys. Who do you think has been easy to interview?
A lot of them are easy. A lot of them, though, depend. Like you've got the Gary Tonans, Rich Franklins, who you'll just say a question and they'll just talk for 10
Gary
minutes.
Tonan.
Happily.
Yeah.
They'll just happily talk, and then you barely need to ask. Well, let's answer my first 4 questions, and then you got other guys that just give such short answers. But I don't mind them so much. I find it quite refreshing and it keeps you on your toes. Like I remember one of my first ever interviews. My first question was received with a 1-word answer. I was like, oh, that completely flummoxed me.
No, but the thing is, like, when you interview someone, you always have to prepare for the short answer. So you have to have a backup question behind that question just to dig deeper, and you have to be prepared. Like one thing I think I've always done and I learned to do more and more is be as prepared as possible. And I have a formula that I use for interviews, and sometimes I go off of it once in a while, but most of the time I have this formula that I use. I don't know if you watch all my interviews, but if you do, you kind of see a pattern of how I like transition from question to question. And some people see it, some people don't. It all depends, right? But for interview wise, like Dan Hooker is one of the easiest interviews to do. Like I've spoken with him many times, just so simple. Like you could ask him anything and he'll give you honest answers. It's not like he's always going to be talking shit and going on tangents. Like he'll give you honest answers. I just did an interview with him yesterday, and he, like, I asked him about Conor McGregor, and he, you know, he could have bashed Conor McGregor, but he didn't. He came with a real honest answer of what he thought of his situation, and I respect that. There's a lot. Like Common Worthy's a good interview. I just interviewed Mackenzie Dern. She's really good. Like she's really fun, always smiles. You know, especially when a fighter smiles a lot, that's a good thing too. You know, that it makes it easier for you, especially when you're looking at them through a screen, stuff like that. But I've had some bad interviews too, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, like what did I do? I'm in my mind like thinking like I'm glad this is not live.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm thinking in my mind.
Can edit myself out of this.
Exactly.
Yeah, the translator's good. It makes it easier. Apart from when you have to repeat the question 5 times, it's slower and slower, and changing the order of the words a little bit. Then you suddenly, because I don't do too much editing when I post my interviews, but when you have to repeat a question 10 times, then suddenly you're going to have to do some editing and throw some overlays in.
All right, what we got next?
Another one I think slightly interesting from Alan. How hard is it to get fighters to accept interviews when you're not a big name?
I'll let you go first, Leon.
You say Leon's not a big name?
No. I'm just saying, like, you know, he was started at the bottom.
He's
too,
the
you know?
Cambodian king. God damn it!
I think it will depend, but it depends as well on how big the name the fighter is. If you ask Conor McGregor, can you do an interview, and you work for the Cambodia King MMA network, he's going to be no. But if you're fighting someone who's starting off their MMA journey themselves, they're going to really appreciate the attention and getting interviewed. So again, that's where I'd go through John's way of starting from the bottom with them fighters, and then you work your way up together. Like you say with Jairzinho, you both kind of started off. You were his first ever interview. You were interviewing people no one had heard of, and now suddenly you're interviewing Dan Hooker, Mackenzie Dern, and he's top 10 in the UFC heavyweight division, top 5, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just like you said, like you just gotta reach out. You know what I mean? Reach out to their management, reach out to them directly. That's what makes MMA media so unique, is because this is the only place where you could actually reach out directly to the athletes. I'm serious. Like how many basketball players, even boxing, man. I was gonna do boxing too, and in boxing is just hard. There's too many handlers. Like there's too many guys kind of like controlling their careers, even from the start. And it was hard to just get things lined up with boxers. So I just said, forget it, I'm not doing boxing. But with MMA, it's the Wild West, man. It's the Wild West, and you gotta use whatever connections you have, and don't bother them too much. Send them a message if they respond. If they don't, then maybe send them a reminder. But after the second try, if they don't come back to me about it, I just go move on to the next person, man. It's just what I do. And a lot of times, a lot of the fighters are really kind people, man, and they'll give you the time. At least they'll give you a shot, right? Even if you're not known, they'll give you a shot. And if you do well, then they'll give you another shot. If you don't, maybe they'll ghost you. Like I'm gonna give you an example. I remember back in the day, I interviewed Curtis Blades, right? And I messed up badly on that interview, and I haven't interviewed Curtis Blades again since then. And I think it's because I messed up in the first interview. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And this was when I was much worse than I am now. I'm pretty bad now, but I'm much worse back then. And and I don't blame him. I don't have no ill will towards any fighter for not giving me an interview, because maybe I did shitty when I talked to them, and I know I did. You could go back and watch that Curtis Blades interview. I'm telling you, like, it's not very good, but it's there. I'm not going to erase it. I'm not going to take it down. It's there.
My first ever post-fight interview in Singapore about 3 years ago was with Amir Khan. I can't remember who he beat, but he beat someone. And I was really proud of myself, the questions I asked and everything. And then I went and pressed stop on my camera and realised I hadn't pressed record.
You doofus.
You only ever do that mistake once.
Yeah.
You make mistakes at the beginning. You learn by them, and the bigger the mistake, like not pressing record, the bigger the lesson.
That's why I just park Tammy on the camera when I'm at one shows, just to make sure it's on. She's like my secret camera woman.
Because most of my interviews are with one, and I don't do that many interviews between fights. Most of my interviews are pre-fight and post-fight. And with one championship, at least 90% of the guys in one are so nice, the boys and the girls. On the other hand, I'd say probably about 80-90% of them can't be bothered to do interviews. So you're torn between someone who's really nice and giving of their time, but someone who just can't be bothered to do interviews unless they have to.
Some of them are just pretty happy to be asked for an interview. You know what I mean? They don't get asked that many times, and I think they enjoy it.
A lot of the times, man, if you go to media days, a lot of people are just so focused on like the biggest names to where like they neglect the other fighters that are coming up. But you don't know, man. The fighter that's not the biggest name right now, they could be the biggest name a year from now. Look at Jorge Masvidal. I look back at him, I'm just like, man, he's one of the biggest stars in the UFC right now. But he came to Seoul. He fought on the UFC card, the first UFC event in Korea against Benson Henderson. I should have interviewed him. I should have went up to him and be like, hey, man, like I cover the sport. Could I get, your contacts, blah, blah. But I didn't do that. And I look back at that and like, man, I messed up so badly, because now it's probably almost impossible to get an interview with him. Because if you think about it, he only does interviews with like maybe 3 people, and that's it. And or if the UFC makes him do it. But other than that, man, like you got to take care of those. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. And I can't wait to go to cover a one championship show. I've never done that, and I can't wait to do it. We've done the UFC together, but it's just the one championship, man. I want to see how it is. I want to be in the arena. I can't wait till it opens back up. I guess we got to get the vaccine. Let's shut it there. Let's shut it down there, Nick. Let's
just quickly home. John was just asking, are you guys doing predictions for TNT card? I'm thinking of doing a prediction show tomorrow. Yeah, so I think tomorrow's podcast will be a predictions for TNT with some maybe 30 UFC in there. We'll see, but where to get that.
Should just mash them up on these types of weeks, right?
This is a crazy week.
Tomorrow morning, the face-offs and the preview show.
Oh, that's a good idea. Sweet. All right. Smart boy Leon is here. And he also asked, you doing a live companion for Fight Circus? I don't know.
When is that? Oh, that's this weekend, right?
Probably not. I got too much to do Yeah, I have enough trouble covering one and UFC. Yeah, people want me to cover Bellator as well now and PFL. I don't have the time, frankly.
Hey, and if I go on Cam Soda, I'm watching other cams. I'm not watching.
Oh my goodness! And John also asked, "Who's Palatnikov fighting next?" Impa Kasanganay. Sasha is the opening fight again this weekend. I am interviewing Sasha tomorrow morning.
Oh, I heard
10
Sasha's pissed.
What have I done something?
Yes, because you've been delaying the interview. No, I'm
Oh
just
really?
kidding.
Oh
No,
my
I'm
god!
just kidding. No, because you're the whole boy. Like you're the Hong Kong connection. You know.
Well, I
You're the
didn't want to
Chinese
bother
connection.
him. I was about to interview him like 3 weeks ago, maybe a
Oh,
month.
speaking of an easy interview, Sasha is also a person that you can interview who is very easy to talk to, you know, and great with his words. So he's another guy. I just need to throw that in before we take off.
Yeah.
Yes, it's right. Because
What time are
there's a
those
few-
face-offs tomorrow?
10 Singapore, Hong Kong time.
Oh fuck's sake! I got Sasha at 10. Maybe I'll jump in.
Everybody watching, subscribe, like.
Yeah.
Also, check out all the new interviews we got up the last couple of days. We have a bunch of them. Loma Lukbumi, Chung Daun, the South Korean light heavyweight, Dan Hooker, Benil Dariush, Mackenzie Dern, and we got a couple more coming, you know, in the pipeline for the next 2 weeks or so. So look out for all of those. And Leon's doing his thing with the one championship roster. What do you got, Leon?
Yeah, I'm going to post a Christian Lee interview today. Another one for there's a few. I can't really say too much. I've heard a few things regarding the one on TNT series behind the scenes, which I'd love to shout out right now, but I'm sworn to secrecy.
Why are you gonna tease us like that, man?
Yeah.
Get this guy off the screen. The Cambodian king always trying to tease us
That's
with
it,
some
tease.
little niblets.
Yes,
Why are
sir.
you trying to give us some niblets, but we can't nibble on them?
I'll tell you afterwards. You had a
Okay.
power cut there, John.
Yes, my power went
I'll
out.
tell you afterwards off camera.
All right, let's take it. I'll come on. Let's get off the camera. Let's hear what Leon has
You're
to
going to be
say.
shocked at one of the things I'll tell you.
What, they're gonna hire me as the hoe for post-fight interviews? Anyways.
Sorry, I was just texting someone. Okay, thanks guys, and thanks everyone for watching. We will see you. We'll be back tomorrow, I think, to do these one championship press conferences and face-offs and our predictions. Yeah, it's all go this week, guys, isn't it? So I think we'll be doing stuff every day.
Nick, and Leon, take these.
What the hell? Oh, that's the kisses.
I'm giving
thing.
you guys the hearts. Come on.
The hearts. Okay.
I
Thank
think
you.
that was money.
That was just me being romantic, but sorry.
Oh,
I didn't
thank you,
want to-
John.
All right.
And on that note, yeah, we'll see.